What is up, Fence fam? So good to be together with you guys again, virtually, as it were. Hope everyone out there is doing super well. Hope you guys wrapped up a great week, and we're just kicking it off for the weekend. Now, I already saw there's a few guys in the chat that are working today. I hope you're doing well. Hope the weather there is as good as it is here. It's like 60s and 70s and sunny. I mean, this is fence paradise, fence builders paradise, really. Without further ado, if you've watched or if you read the title of today's live, we've got Chris with Contractor Distributors. We also have a special guest, Caleb with Stand Still Experts. So let's bring these guys up. Chris, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show today.
I'm so glad you made time for us. You've had some pretty big life events in the past 24, 48 hours.
Absolutely. We've just brought in a brand new baby boy Friday morning at 3:17 a.m. Baby boy number 2.
Congratulations. That's
Thanks.
Massive.
Yeah. Lots going on in the family.
Yeah, I'd say so. Your fence fam is growing.
It is. It is.
Looks like Caleb's getting his video sorted real quick. So maybe he's here. Let's see. Let's bring him up. Caleb, how are you?
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning. Good morning, Caleb.
How are you guys doing?
Doing super well. Good. Now this does not look like the Stand Still Expert studio.
I'm in an Airbnb in the North Carolina mountains, man. I am home.
North Carolina mountains. Boy, that sounds good.
Yeah,
we'll actually be there. We'll be in North Carolina here together in a few months.
A couple of weeks. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me. The internet's not the greatest here.
Yeah, no. You're good. You're good.
And the studio lighting's not the greatest either.
Well, I was gonna say this could be a setup for like a mystery guest, like guess the guest sort of thing.
Yeah, I need one of those garbled voices.
That's right. That's right. Oh, well, so Chris, like I said, first and foremost, congratulations. Massive life event for you. And we appreciate you making time to come on this fence show. For
Absolutely.
Sure, talk fence.
I appreciate it. And I know my wife does because she's actually sitting in the hospital right now. And hopefully we all get to come home tonight. So I beelined it from the hospital, get to the office, get set up. And we're here for a little while now to talk about me, the company, products, Caleb's stuff that we're dealing with, and all kinds of good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's a really nice segue, Chris. Why don't you tell me, I mean, you do a few things. Right? So let's tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my background is heavy civil construction. I spent a better part of almost 25 years doing big earthwork, deep utilities, roads, bridges, piles, dredging, environmental cleanup stuff, all kinds of things that involve very complex sites. And, we would go in and move big earthwork, a couple 100,000 yards. We'd put pipe in the ground, water pipe, sewer, storm water, stuff like that. And then in 2017, so I did that for ever since I was about 21 years old. I was estimator project manager. That's how I got my start. And then I just kind of grew from there. And I always knew I was going to do something on my own. And I'm a dirt guy at heart. I love dirt, and I'll find my way back into it. But I just knew, that I wanted to do something, and it was just a matter of what. And then what happened was I bought a fence company in 2017. At the end of 2017. We had 4 employees and just a couple old junk trucks, and had a great reputation and a great name. And I started building on it. And what helped us grow so quickly was the fact that I know all the large GCs around, and New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. Those are the main, in Pennsylvania are the main areas. But I've been able to branch out into other areas. We go into New York. Now we're going into Rhode Island, down in Virginia. So that's sort of kind of what's led me up to this. But Contractor Distributors, which is really our main focus today, started from seeing a product at the Jackpot show in 20. I think it was 19. Sorry, 19. And it was Quickset, which is a resin-based material. I know you've done some videos on other products like it.
Yep.
And that's how the conversation started. And I thought, wow, what if we started a company that only focuses on innovative and technology-driven products in the construction industry. We don't want to just sell anything,
Sure.
but products that make sense and that are innovative and technology-driven. And that's what we did. And so it started with Quickset, which we'll get into that in a second about all of our products. So we started with there. Then I met Al Martin, the fence armor, and I thought, wow, what we could add value to providing our clients with products. And so we had that. And then he had Post Saver because he represents Post Saver for North America, and that's how our relationship began. And the products. And then I met Caleb, and he didn't have that mustache though. He
Really nice.
And so Caleb and I started talking, and I said, look, I'd love to. It's a great product. It's eco-friendly and less than 5% carcinogens in it. It's ultra low VOC. And I thought, wow, okay, why not represent a product like that in the marketplace? Because what I see in the fence industry is people just want to install. Well, if you're in front of the clients already, why not provide value? Why not upsell them and give them options? And and that's how it was. And then we brought on Muck Tape, and we brought on the ground screws, and we brought on the adapters for them. So we deal with eTerra and Diga now. So we're not looking to create this whole big long market of all these products. We want to have a small number of products that we not are just sellers of them, we're users of them. Yeah. And that's how we promote it. And a lot of the sort of the frustrating things that you see when you go to buy a product is you go and ask about it and no one knows anything about it. They go, yeah, that's what we sell. And if you want, go ahead.
They literally just pick it up and they're reading to you what's on the package. Like, well, yeah, this is a very great product. It is. You're like, well, I could have read that.
Yeah. And so that's kind of our sort of our mission and our goal, and we're growing the network. I know, and I have patience that a lot of these products are going to take time to really build the exposure that they deserve. And so that's what we're doing. And we're doing it one client at a time. We keep adding dealers. We're doing lunch and learns for folks. So if you have someone that in the Mid-Atlantic New England region that wants us to come and do demos, we come do demos. We'll bring breakfast. We bring lunch.
Nice.
We've added dealers that way. And it's been good because you got to get out and really talk about and show the product. And that's the results. And that's sort of how Caruso started. And we're going to see where it goes. We're 3 years into it now. And I got a long time till retirement. So we got a long time to figure this out.
Absolutely. Well, and so you and I met each other through Caleb.
Yep.
Right. You had started bringing on Caleb's line, and that makes sense. We rep Caleb's obviously here on the show, but also in real life, in person here at our shop. I mean, it's such an easy sell. If someone's looking for a safe product that's easy to apply, they're not worried about if their kids or pets are around it, that sort of thing. It's one of those products that really, the cliche term is sells itself, right? But when you just explain, you're like, listen, there are multiple stains in the market. No doubt about that. However, how many of them do I feel comfortable staining my fence with and knowing that my kids and my neighbors' pets are going to be up against this thing? Now, I've got a 4-year-old son, so he would actually go out there when it's wet and start, making handprints with it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How many products do you feel safe letting your family out? I feel safe with one. That's me. Now, you can do research and come to your own conclusions, but if you're asking me, I've got one product and we happen to sell it.
Yeah. And, now that I have children, I get it. Yeah. Right. And it's funny when you start to have kids, and I know Caleb's got a few of them as well, is you think differently.
Yeah.
Right. When you don't have kids, I've put my hands in lacquer and mineral oil and paint, and you don't think about it. But then you got kids, and it's they want to ingest it, and so you start to think a little differently. And Caleb and Ashley's products are great. In fact, when we took on the product, there was a video or something I saw that Caleb had done where, you could spray against the house and it wouldn't stick. You could wipe off your hardware and it was easy cleanup and it was self-leveling. I didn't believe it. And I was like, okay, here we go. And so I went ahead and I had gotten some product from him. I said, let's go do a job. So we sold a job and I went out myself. Every product that we have here, I've used myself to see how it works. And I've gone out and I was amazed. And it truly works the way it does. And there wasn't this massive pungent smell.
Right.
Which is great because, in the area that we are in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, it's growing. It's getting bigger. So more developments are going in and stuff like that. You're on top of neighbors in some cases. And the last thing you want is a lady to come over or a client or, a neighbor to come over and say, hey, listen, you need to stop that. It stinks. My kids are out trying to play. I don't want to get them sick. And it's not like that. And so so far it's been a great product just to use and to get out there and sell. And, we're looking for more sales and we're constantly beating on the doors. And we had a fantastic, which I haven't even told Caleb about this yet, but we had a fantastic meeting with a very large representative of lumber stores. And they may be coming May 6th, and we'll talk about the May 6th event later on. But I think they're going to come and see the product because they didn't believe what I told them about what it does. And so I said, well, come on, come see it. And we'd like to get it into all your stores for all your members. So we're working on that, and I'm beating on the doors left and right to do that. And one of the companies that we're doing that with is Leather Lumber. It was one of those companies where I called several times, finally got through, had a great conversation. Right now we're doing lunch and learns at all of their locations in Pennsylvania. We're talking about all the products and we're helping the salespeople get out in front of people to talk about the products.
I like that a lot. Why don't you walk me through, Chris, what the lunch and learn experience is? Because this is something that I'm interested in myself.
Yeah. So I started doing lunch and learns back when I worked for a company in Boston. They would go and do lunch and learns for their environmental clients. And so we would go grab Panera Bread or someone and grab some food and take it in, and we would talk about the business. And, we would kind of sell ourselves and sell the ability to do the jobs. And that's what we do. So when we started doing the lunch and learns, we started it right before the pandemic. And we would go out, and I met with some engineers here locally to talk about our ground screws, which is the one in the back there. And it went very well. At least the conversation did. And then the pandemic hit. And in fact, when the pandemic hit, I was supposed to go to Manhattan for a lunch and learn with another client for that same product. And we had to cancel it. So I said, listen, let's just do it on Zoom. So we did it on Zoom, and it was great. But the lunch and learn is me and one of our reps, usually Dave, will come out. We bring our trailer, we bring lunch or whatever, and we'll set up at your shop, at your facility. And we will pull all the products out, and then we basically go into a big demo, talk about the products, get into some in-depth knowledge about them and how you can sell them to your clients, provide that value to your clients, any issues that we have with them. We've had issues with one of them, a very small, minute issue. We figured out the problem and we moved forward. And that's what we want to do, is we want to interact with our sales reps that are going to be out there selling the product. And typically it'll last 1 to maybe 1 hour to an hour and a half tops. And a lot of questions. We'll have a ton of questions that come at us. We answer them. If we don't have the answer, we'll get them for you. Most 99% of the answers we already have. And that sort of gets them sort of fired up. And that's the idea, is to get people fired up about the products, get out there and start selling them.
I like that a lot. We do, we do installation, but we also are getting more into the retail, like regional wholesale kind of model. But we're doing those here right now, where we've got one next month where we're catering in lunch. We're bringing everybody in to talk about who we are and what we do. But I think that's interesting too, doing those on the road too, doing lunch and learns where your clients are at.
Yeah. there are companies out there that represent products. Some just a few, some a lot of products. And the most frustrating thing I have experienced myself is when I call to get a price on a product or we're bidding a job that we need to know some more detail about it. And then the guy goes, I don't know anything about it. You have to go to their website, or you got to call them. Right. And that's the frustrating part about being on the opposite side. And so that's what I wanted to make sure, that if we're going to go in front of people and we're going to talk about the products, that we have the knowledge, that we have the expertise of them, so that they don't feel like they're lone soldiers in the world trying to sell something they know nothing about.
Sure.
That did happen at Leisure Lumber with Post Saber, the sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
They bought some. I think they bought a pack of 25 or whatever. This was 2 years ago. One guy bought them, returned all but one. And that's because he used the one and he destroyed it. And he returned it and said, they don't fit. And Leisure Lumber, and there's nothing to what they did wrong per se. Sure. They just had a product, here you go. And they didn't have the knowledge behind it. And so that product set, they bought a ton of it. It's sitting in their warehouse, never been used the last 2 years. So when I got introduced to them, we actually went out to State College over the winter in January, did a presentation in front of about 80 to 100 of their salespeople. And then they said, okay, let's get out there and let's start selling this. I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do individualized lunch and learns or trainings at each of the facilities and help people out and help them get out there and sell the products. And that's what we've done. And it's working, and we're going to be doing more in the future.
I like the idea of empowering them through educating, right? So, hey, I'm going to empower you to sell this product by teaching you everything there is to know about it. I mean, ultimately, whether we're talking to fence installation companies, talking to retailers, wholesalers, or whatever, education is the most powerful sales tool there is, I believe. Like, the more education you give to a customer, you let them make an informed decision, it's easy.
Yeah. And that education goes a long way. The education starts with the beginning. It's the pre-sales process or the sales process that you can create that education. Look at home. I won't name a name or names, but windows, siding, roofs, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have those folks, they're a hard sell. They go out and they'll spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours with you to not just educate you, but obviously try to sell you. And they'll get into the details. They'll get into the weeds so that they're talking about every aspect of the product and why you have to have it. And while we don't do it like that, we do it enough that we give you the knowledge you need so that you can go, okay, that makes sense. Hey, let's put expert stain and seal on our fence or deck or any wood product that we have. And we know it's going to last for 3 years. It's going to look good. It's going to have all those benefits of having that on our product or our fence or whatever. Same with, Post Saver. All of these products are that. Now, it goes back to not just the education, but the ability to want to help your clients. Yeah. Right. Again, it's not just about, just pushing the sale just to have the sale.
Sure.
About making sure that they get the benefit out of it that they want. Because, I have to look at myself and say, would I use that product?
Yeah.
And if I'm willing to use it, well, you got to have it. Now here's why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're having a home show this weekend, and I was out there yesterday evening, and talking to a gentleman. We've got a big display put up and all that, and some of it has pre-stained cedar pickets on it. And he had asked about that. He said, well, do you buy these from someone, or do you guys stain them? I said, oh, no, sir. We stain these ourselves, because I said, I'm a bit of a control freak. I want to know exactly how this thing is stained, what it's stained with. I want to personally tell you that it's done right. So we stain it ourselves, and we offer 3 colors and this and that. And he goes, is it good though? And I was like, well, I mean, ultimately you're the deciding factor in that. But I'll tell you this, I have this fence at my house. We pre-dipped it, cedar, steel post, because I don't want to have to mess with it. I want it to look great. So I think it is, and I've done tons of research into this material, but you probably ought to do research yourself. You say, well, if you use it and if it's your house, it's good. If it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. But that personal experience is huge. It really, really is.
It is. And every market is different too, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So your market in Missouri is one way, Caleb's
Mhm.
market in Nashville, Tennessee is another way. Here in the mid-Atlantic New England region, I'll say, stain is not a big driver.
Yeah.
And it's not that it can't be, it can be,
Sure.
but it's getting out there and selling that value and showing the clients why they should have that to make their yards look better. Now,
Yeah.
over the last 2 years, if you look after the pandemic started, there are 3 things that skyrocketed when it came to yard improvements, or 4 maybe. You had pools, you had fences, you had decks, and you had patios, landscaping, stuff like that.
Yeah.
People the last 2 years did not go hardly anywhere, and they
Right.
stayed at home. So they started putting all these investments into their properties.
Mhm.
So you spend all this money on these decks and pools and fences and stuff like that. You want to protect it. You want to make it last long.
Yeah.
Because, at least for me, I've gotten so used to spending more time at home. And yes, I have young little kids. But, we'll go sit out in the back deck
Uh-huh.
and play with the kids and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to doing it more this summer because now we have 2 and so our hands are full. But it's creating that market, it's getting out there, and it's building on it. And that's what we're doing. In the South, I mean, I see so many pictures and from like Texas and Oklahoma and stuff. It's almost like everyone stains everything.
Yeah. In our market, we had one staining contract, like one, I don't know how to say this without being disparaging to other people, one professional company that did it, right? There are other individuals that do it, I'm sure. There is one company that did it before we kind of got into the market. So we're kind of fighting that battle too of normalizing it, saying this isn't an upgrade. It is an upgrade, but this isn't just something additional. This isn't a nice to have, right? This is and in protecting your investment, and this is totally normal. People do it all the time. It's not in the beginning. A lot of people I talked to, they really thought it was, just something that people threw onto a fence that they had just additional money. They're like, well, if they had even more money and they wanted to make it look nicer, they just put that. Like, well, it does make it look nice. It absolutely does. However, it's also protecting your investment. Like it's not just an aesthetic upgrade, right? It actually is practical as well. It's taken a couple years to have that conversation, but now we've done enough of them in our market. It's becoming normal now. There's a big neighborhood going up in a town just south of here we do a lot of work in, and for the first couple fences we offered free pre-stain upgrade. Like we will upgrade your fence for free from a cedar with steel post to a pre-stained cedar. Knowing now, and these houses were on corner lots as you entered the neighborhood, right? So now people say, oh, I want that fence, the one that looks like that. Like, do you want a natural cedar, or would you like to upgrade that to a pre-stained, just like the fence up there? And they're like, well, no, that fence, that's the one I want. Perfect. That's what we're after, is that you can recognize that it's now normal, right? That it's not just something that's fancy. It's not just only an aesthetic upgrade. It is normal, and it's actually practical as well.
And sometimes, look, we're for our companies, we obviously have to make profit and in order for all of us to grow and stuff. But sometimes that's all it takes is throw something. I'll do it here, and sometimes my staff will be like, "Why are you doing that? What are you thinking?" Yeah, but what you don't know is I'm thinking down the road, what else is going to come out of this client, and we do that on commercial jobs all the time. And same with this. You go in and do the first one. Maybe it's the model home. Maybe it's the home next to the model home. And then everyone goes, I want that. I need to have that. I like that. And and so that's how you started.
Another thing we'll do is, even in an established neighborhood, if it's the nicest house, like the biggest house, the nicest house, like it's got the manicured lawn, usually we'll do something a little bit nice for that house too, knowing that everyone goes on walks and they look at that house, right? And they're kind of trying to level their house to that house. So, it's it's chess, not checkers, right? Like you're trying to play a few moves ahead. You say, okay, well, if we offer them a free upgrade, it does in fact have a cost to us. However, that cost, the return on that investment will be 10x, 15x, 20x if we get, 2 or 3 houses here. So it's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
100%.
Caleb, how are you, sir? How are you doing?
You guys are doing great. You guys are doing fantastic.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you, and we didn't set this up beforehand, so here we go. You guys rolled out a newer feature, or I don't know, feature, but an additive to the stain, right? The Citronella.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how that works. I am interested to learn more about that.
Okay, so we get calls all the time about bees in our fence, bees in our log house, bees in our deck, and I'm kind of an organic nut. I like to eat things that are good and healthy and like to be around things that are healthy. So we've been thinking about it, and there's a lot of products on the market that will kill them, poison. And so when we made this log cabin stain, we put citronella oil in it. It's very expensive. And we just had the crazy idea. Why don't we just mix this in with all our stain? And it's so expensive that you really can't, but we can sell it as an add-on. So we've got really nice bottles of citronella oil that can be mixed in with our stain, and it smells great and it keeps the bugs and mosquitoes away. So that's the idea. It was just coming up with something that would help people enjoy their backyard more. I live out in the country, and believe it or not, you city folks, there's no bugs in the country. I mean, there's bugs everywhere, but you can go outside and they don't bother you. If you go into the city, and it's particularly in Nashville, you as soon as you walk out the door, there's 50 mosquitoes on you. So
Yeah.
trying to do something to make life a little easier for those folks, those city folks, that got a lot of mosquitoes. So,
absolutely.
keep the bees off the fence, keep the mosquitoes out of the yard, that sort of thing.
So go set your table right next to your fence. You're protected.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We're creating a force field around the whole backyard.
So can you mix this in with any of your stains, the fence stain as well?
Yeah, we played with it for a while, and it can actually be mixed in with any stain or paint. You can even mix it in with water. If you mix it with water, it's not going to penetrate into the wood like it would within the stain. So if you mix it with water, it's going to be more of a, like, we got a party this weekend, let's spray the front porch down and that sort of a thing.
Oh, no kidding.
Spray the grass, spray the bushes. It's not going to hurt anything. Or if you put it in with the fence, obviously it's going to stay there for a long time.
Well, I'm asking this because here in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a maintenance coat of stain on my fence at my house, and we got bugs. So I'm like, it was funny. This conversation came up. Me and my wife were talking about just doing a maintenance coat on the fence and all that. And then I see you guys post the citronella, and I'm like, you know what? We've got bugs, and I don't want bugs, and we're getting ready to reapply stain to this fence. This could be some good timing. Some good timing.
Yeah. So full disclosure, I don't think it's going to work on, like, if you've got a major infestation.
Yeah.
Because we did some experimenting years and years and years ago. We had an old cedar fence post back on the farm it must have had like 500 carpenter bees living in it. There were holes everywhere, all over it. And Grandpa poured some motor oil on it because he was going to get rid of the bees. It didn't bother the bees. They still lived there. So I don't know if you've got a major infestation, you're not going to get rid of them. But if you've got a new or newer stuff, it would definitely help.
Yeah.
So,
the fence is fairly new, and we don't have. So in Southwest Missouri, we really don't. I'm sure there are carpenter bees somewhere, but it's not a big problem for us. Really, what my problem is when I sit out on the back deck to have a cigar in the evening, it's right next to my fence, but it's also right next to all the mosquitoes. Like, for whatever reason, all the mosquitoes hang out with me. I'm thinking,
So the problem is the bee bores in here, and then he turns and he goes this way, and then he chills out in here, and then Mr. Woodpecker comes along and he starts beating all the way down to find the thing inside. So that's the problem a lot of folks have, is they got the bees, which make the dust everywhere. Yeah. But also the woodpeckers come in and destroy
it, trying to get to the bees.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, I foresee a video coming up in our near future that involves the citronella oil. I think it's massive. You said you can mix it with anything, so you can mix it with other stains as well?
You can mix it with paint. You can mix it with water-based paint.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Interesting, huh? Interesting.
Fantastic. Yeah. Like this really has my gears moving right now. I was like,
Mix it with water. That's the coolest when you can mix it with water.
when you said that, so we like to have, like, we'll bring, like, for one of our kids' birthdays, like, so Jackson's birthday's coming up in July. He wants to do a pool and then come back for a movie where we'll put a white sheet up on the fence and we'll put a movie up and all that. So you said that, I was like, that is perfect, because in July the bugs are bad, but we can come through that morning.
I've got some other goodies we're coming out with too. So we found a way to make our trash into treasure, some of our leftover stuff. So I'll send you some other goodies, and I won't let it out of the bag just yet, but we got some cool stuff coming out.
I am here for it. Yep. So Braden's here with us. So we ought to do that, Braden. We ought to put together a video where we talk about the Citronella product. I like this idea a lot.
Because you just came out with them, what, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago?
We've been working on this for 12, 14 months.
Have you? Yeah.
But finding the right kind of oil, finding, packaging, finding all of these things, and it takes time. It's been in the log home stain for quite some time, but when we just all of a sudden had this flutter of ideas, hey, let's add it, let's make it an additive, and then these other things we're doing with it, some of these ideas just came out this week. So overnight success. It's been taking long.
You're always thinking, and that's kind of the three of us here. We're always thinking about something that we could bring out, or we could add value to the clients, and, and make things stand out, and make your product stand out better than everyone else's. And I think when I when I saw it, I thought that was a fantastic idea. I'm looking forward to using it and trying it out. And we have a massive deck, so that might be a perfect spot, because we're gonna have parties this summer and birthday parties and stuff, and put it out there, use it.
Absolutely. Like I think the key to this collective success here is, so the key is finding value, right? And I think when I talk to both of you, I think both of you are on that same line of, I want to offer something that brings more value than what it costs, right? Yeah. Just with the Citronella, with the oil, listen, we could be here all day talking about everything that Caruso offers, because I've been to your website and it's a lot of good stuff. But I feel like the key denominator here is that it's all to improve value, right? It's to bring more value than what it costs to the customer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not just value to the end user as well. It's value to the contractor installing it, or the homeowner installing it, and making things go faster, more productive. Sort of showcasing, making it look nicer than the next guy, so that people go, hey, we want to call these guys. These guys are willing to add and do something different than everyone else does.
Yeah.
It shows we're committed to the success of the people that we make stuff for. Like if people use our stain and we offer this to them, they can offer it to their customers and set themselves apart. And that's what it's all about. It's the same as the training you guys are doing. You're all of us trying to make people competent and confident, because they can't do it without those two things. So everything we can do to help them do better is good by me.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Guys, let's dive into, since we brought up the training a couple times. May 6th, they're in Philly. We're doing some training. Is that right, Chris?
That's right. So we're calling it Stano de Mayo.
I love
that. Dave, one of our social media guy and one of our sales reps, came up with it. And at first I was kind of like, I don't like the name, but it wore on me. Yeah. And so that's what we're targeting is May 6th, which is Friday. It's going to start at 9 o'clock, run until 4 o'clock or so in the afternoon. It's going to be here in the Skip Pack, Pennsylvania area, which is right off of 476 and the Lansdale exit, just northwest of Philly. The closest, biggest area outside of Philly that would be here is King of Prussia. Everyone, when I say King of Prussia, they know about the mall that's there. And so we're going to do some staining, do some education. Some of the folks coming are going to be brand new. Some of them may maybe just brand new to the the fence industry in general, looking for some add-on value. They're going to be other guys that do other stains. There's also going to be you guys are going to be there as well. So helping with education and sort of the business side of it. We'll talk hopefully in depth more about how to sell it, right? I actually had one of our dealers on the phone with me the other day and said, okay, how much per square foot do you guys charge? And I said, well, I really don't focus on that. I focus on how much do I need to apply on the fence or deck or whatever we're applying it to, how long it's going to take, what your overhead and profit, that's the number. Now, yes, you can divide it and figure out a square footage, but every job's different. And so we're going to be doing that. We're going to do a couple different locations. So I think we've got 2 right now lined up, possibly a third, all very close. So we're going to figure out how to make all that work. Nice. I tried to do just one location with everything, but it didn't work out that way. And then for lunch, we got a food truck coming in. Probably figured that was the easiest way. Caleb said, hey, man, food trucks work the best. So we've got a food truck going to come in, feed everyone. You can go to Eventbrite. You can also go to CasuricDistributors.com. Actually, go to our social media. So we have Casuric Distributors, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. It has a link in there to go and register for tickets. Nice. And we're going to make it a fun all-day event. And I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to having you guys and see where this goes. This is the first, I know, Joe, this is the first time you're coming to the Northeast.
Yeah.
So you'll enjoy it.
I'm stoked. I'm so excited for it.
And we want to continue to do this annually and help educate the folks in our market.
Absolutely.
What are we going to do, man?
I'm very excited.
Something, staying in something? What's the plan? What can we look
so we're going to be doing staining. So we've got some fence lined up and a deck lined up. The fence is going to be something that was installed in the last 6 months to a year. It's at a park locally. So that's what we're going to do. And the reason I picked that is we can get a lot of parking in there because the parking is the key. We did also, we're doing a raffle. So we're going to see how this one goes. So we're doing a raffle for either a fence or a deck staining up to either 200 linear foot or 200 square feet. And it's at the local church. So right around the corner is a local church. They came to us asking if we would donate something through the fence company. I said, sure, let's try it. So it auctions off next week. And then so we would do that on the 6th. And that's a backup one because I don't know if they're going to want 100 cars parked in their neighborhood, but we're gonna find out and try to make it work the best we can.
I like that a lot.
If I win the raffle, will you build a fence for me?
Only if you let me fly there and only me, not the kids. Sure. We'll come to Nashville and we'll build you something.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So it's coming up May 6th. It's going to be so for Braden's finding the link, the registration link, he's going to drop it in the comments. That way, if you guys are looking to come to a training event there in the Northeast, this is your ticket. We see, so I say we, so I've seen a lot of requests for kind of a Northeast training, and it doesn't get much more Northeast than Philly or just outside Philly. So I think this could be huge. I really do.
Well, the last one you did anything close to here was in Richmond.
Yeah.
So Richmond's about 4.5, 5 hours from us. So, we're like right in the middle of Richmond and Boston. So there's a nice coverage area. I know there's some folks in Boston that we talk to. Hopefully they'll come down. Divine Fence is one of them.
Yeah.
They comment a lot on here. Brittany.
Absolutely.
Brittany, and I can't think of her brother's name. So hopefully they'll maybe make the trek down here and more coming down from that area. But the majority of what we have right now is Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania coming.
Hey, let's go stain a fence in Boston next time.
You know what? I know the perfect guy that probably could use a little stain and some fence up there.
Let's do it on Martha's Vineyard.
We'll go around the roundabout so when I had a chance, I worked for a environmental company, fantastic company, and they moved me up there. I was up there for 8 months. I'm originally from Detroit. I've been in the Philly area, Delaware, Philly area for 21, 22 years. And so I had a chance to move to Boston, and I took it. And that was an experience, not just the area, the traffic, but the things their words, their sort of the things that they do differently than here. They don't have Jersey jug handles, or they don't have turnarounds. They have roundabouts.
Yeah.
Right. And a friend of mine lived in South Shore, which is below Boston, going towards Vineyards and Martha's Vineyard and all that down to the south. Anyways, I saw a sign that said thickly settled. Now, you probably can figure out what I was thinking. It just meant dense population. So it's like little things like that. But I tell you what, I enjoyed it. I actually still miss Boston. What I enjoyed about like that area is you have a very tight knit Boston district and outskirts, and there's so much to do up there. And then, but if you just drive like an hour north, you get out of the city, you're up into New Hampshire and it's beautiful up there. And then one time I actually drove all the way up to, I think it's Jericho National Park, I think it is, almost all the way in Canada. And you just get a different vision of what the Northeast is like. It's definitely a place to go.
So we had a request here. So Todd says, Joe, if you're coming to Northeast, you should make a stop in Boston. So usually I'll add a day or two onto one of these trips, especially if it's a place like this that I've never been, like in a region I've never been. Unfortunately, Sunday's Mother's Day. So flying in, doing the event, flying right back. That way when I come home, all my stuff's not in the front yard, the locks aren't changed, that sort of thing. So unfortunately, Todd, on this trip is literally for the training and then back home. But
yep.
I would like, I mean, so I have taken one trip to the Northeast, and that was in 5th grade. We did the obligatory Washington, D.C. trip. But it was in 5th grade. It was on a Greyhound bus, and we literally saw the Capitol, and then we came back. So I'd like to see more history. So this isn't the only time we're coming to Northeast. Like Chris said, we want to make this an annual thing. So hopefully next year we'll be able to add a day or two into it. I'd like to come up to see Boston for sure.
What time are you guys trying to get out on Friday? Or on Saturday?
So Saturday, it's like I think it's a 3:00 flight. It was either 6 a.m. or 3 p.m. So like, well, I'm not so much a 6 a.m. kind of guy, more as I am a 3 p.m. kind of guy. So I think it's like 3:30, something like that.
I've done those 6 a.m. flights after doing some business travel. They're painful sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and it's the airport's a little bit of a drive. So then it's like, okay, so you got, an hour before, hour and a half before. So now we're at 4:30, but then you got some travel. So maybe you're getting up around 3. Like, I am really not a 3 a.m. kind of guy.
See, I am. That does not bother me at all getting up. I'm usually in the up. I try to get up. Yeah. My wife lately, because she was pregnant, she was doing the waking me up part.
Yeah. Yep.
Apparently I snore too much. And so usually between 3 and 6, I'm up and in the office.
Nice.
But what we'll have to do is get up early Saturday, maybe, because Philly is the airport from Philly is 15 minutes. Maybe we'll all go that way and tour the city, do the touristy stuff.
Hey, I'm here for it. I really, really am. I'm all game for that. I want to make a trip back to Philly again. So, like I said, we're making this an annual trip. There's a YouTube channel I watch, a watch channel. They're based out of Philly, so it's like I ought to go. I need to add a day on next time and just go tour the city. But I'm absolutely up for some touristy Philly stuff. We're gonna be there for lunch, do some Philly steaks, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So here, have you looked into that yet? Like who the Philly cheesesteak guys are?
No, huh?
Okay. There's always a battle with this.
Of course.
If you go off of Passyunk Ave, you got Gino's and Pat's. I'm a Pat's guy. I love
Yeah.
Pat's. I used to go there, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning back in the fun 20s. And I like it. Now, I've had Geno's. I'm not saying no to it, but
Yeah.
Pat's is my thing. And then you got Tony Luke's, which is good. That's over closer towards the water. And then you have Jim's over on South Street. And Jim's is good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good spots for cheesesteaks, man.
It's funny how food gets like that, right? So I've got my wife's brother and his family are from just north of Chicago, and so we'd go visit them. And in Chicago, it's deep dish pizza, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta go here, but don't go there. Do yourself a favor, don't go there. Just go to the other place." And then you talk to somebody else, they're like, "No way!
Yeah.
Don't waste your money over there. You're gonna hate it. You got to go over to this." It's funny how food gets really like that.
Well, what's funny is when you go to, say, any of these cheesesteak places, you can always tell the tourist.
Okay.
Because they look up and they're looking at the menu.
Oh.
The menu's like 4 items. It's Whiz Wit, Prove Wit, American Wit, and wit is with onions.
Okay.
Language. And then fries and a drink. That's it.
Easy.
Yeah.
That's my kind of place.
One of each would be good.
They're about this long.
Okay.
Go for it.
One of each in some to-go bags, yeah.
Well, we could get one of each and cut them in 4 pieces and just divvy them up. That'd probably be the way to do it. Get the experience.
I like this idea.
Joe, after seeing Caleb at Fence Tech, he probably could eat 4 cheesesteaks. He could use it.
Yeah, what would my grandma? My grandma always had this saying. She's like, you're a good couple meals away from a solid guy. You're a good couple meals. Let me feed you. You come over. I'll feed you, and we'll get you right. Like, and apparently, I took that to heart too many times. I had too many meals, and so now I'm like, oh, grandma, I shouldn't have had that last meal. I don't know. Maybe that's the one that did it.
That's what COVID did to me. Sitting around, eating and drinking more and enjoying it. And it's funny, my mother-in-law, I love joking with her, but she asks you nonstop, come on, you can use more. Take another bite of that. Come on.
Yeah,
and I have a little voice I do with her, which I won't do here, but it's like, come on, you can have a little more. Come on, you look like you're hungry. I'm like, I'm really not hungry.
Yeah. Well, then they guilt you. They're like, what? You don't like it? Was it bad? I can change it. You don't. Grandma, it's okay. Like I sat here and had 2 platefuls. There's no more room. Like, oh well, you didn't like it. That's okay. We'll do something else next time.
I've been blessed. I can eat anything, and 180 pounds for the last 15 years. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah, but you also run how many miles a day?
No, I don't run. Not much.
No. Okay.
Pull-ups.
I
can do that in one place.
And Caleb, how old are you?
33.
Yeah. Wait till you hit 40.
Not looking forward to that. Not looking forward to that already.
All right.
So Chris, why don't you talk about this giant screw you've got behind you? Because I've been staring at this thing the whole time, and you said it's a ground screw, but I'm trying to figure it out.
You got to build a big deck if you're going to use those.
Yeah. So this is actually a 63-inch by 3-inch ground screw, and you can see the threads without hitting.
That's massive.
You can see the threads.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a hot dip galvanized screw. So let me kind of explain a couple things. Just make sure it doesn't fall. All right, there we go.
You can really do some damage if it does.
It's pretty heavy. So how we got involved in this was, again, adding a product that would be innovative and technology driven. So those ground screws are very big in the solar industry.
Okay.
Around the world, and they're being used in the United States, but they're around the world. There's a company out of Germany and Canada that are big users of it. They make it. They have it made in China, and they also install it. And when we brought this product on, what I liked about it was, in a traditional, with quality control, and I'll say it that way because you got to kind of, talk about quality control too, is
sure.
When you're putting a deck in and you're putting foundations in, if you drill a hole and then you're pouring concrete, you're supposed to wait until you get 75% cure, which could be up to 3 days on average.
Okay.
All right. And let's say you pour a 4,000 with air mix or something. Well, in the meantime, a lot of these deck guys, they'll go and put their rim board on. They'll prefab the stairs. They'll start to get prep work going. But almost 95% or better don't wait. So now you'll still have good strength, but they'll go and start building on it instantly. Well, in the commercial world, they won't let you do that. You're waiting until you get a 3-day break or 75% minimum. Some other other requirements, maybe 14 days, 28 days. And you'll do breaks to make sure you're getting the strength that you need. So rather than waiting, why not have a solution that you can install a ground screw or something in the ground and build on it instantly? And so that's where this came from. And so we started to target the deck market. They can be used for a wide range of foundations. Now, the ground screw is sort of the equivalent to a helical pile.
Okay.
The difference with a helical pile is you can put extensions on it. So being my background is the civil industry, I'm very familiar with soil analysis, geotechnical reports, rock, different style rock formations, weathered rock, intact rock, sand, sort of all the geotechnical stuff that the commercial world does to determine how they can build safe foundation systems for buildings. Now, the difference is you will not extend ours, and you don't have to, because the way the threads are built and the length of the threads, anywhere from 24 inches to 35 inches are the thread lengths. As you screw it in, the friction allows it to bond. And so the majority of decks you're going to install when you install one of these ground screws is going to be 3-inch diameter. Okay. And it's going to be anywhere from 63 inches to 79 inches long. That's because you want 2/3 of the threads below the frost line. But once you install it, you can instantly build on it. And so
interesting.
You have flanges. So that's why I showed you the head. Mm-hmm. You've got 3 screws that you'll 3 bolts that you'll put in, and you can put a flat flange, you can put a beam flange, a 4x4, a 6x6, or we can build you something that say you have 8x8s or something else. We can custom fabricate what you need. They're all hot dip galvanized. So they come with a 20-year warranty. But I can tell you hot dip galvanized will last a lot longer than that. Yeah. That's what the manufacturer feels comfortable putting on paper. Sure. They're a great company to represent, and we're selling more and more. Typically, we're selling anywhere from 12 to 15 all the way up to 40 at a time, because most contractors don't want to take a big inventory. They're using it as they install it because they're smaller companies. Sure. I have gone out and installed these myself. I wanted to, again, when I'm going to represent a product, I want to use it. I want to know about it. And I want to know what works and what doesn't work.
Sure.
And I went in and I did a set of column line setup. It was 3 wide by 5 wide, 3 long. Sorry. And so it was 15 ground screws. So I went out, I laid it out, I marked it. I got in the skid steer because we have a skid steer with an attachment, and I'll get to that in a minute, to what we use to install these. And I installed all of them in 2 hours. And that wasn't like racing to do it. That was just putzing around and getting comfortable with using it. Mm-hmm. And so if you do a deck, that'll have anywhere from 4. Typically, you'll have 1 line of columns, and you might have 4, or you'll have up to. We did a deck on the fence company side. We did a deck that had 22 of them.
Dang.
Yeah. And so, if I can go in and I can install these in, under 2 hours, let's say, and I can instantly build on it as a contractor, I'm comfortable knowing that quality control has not suffered in this process.
Yep.
And unfortunately in the residential world with contractors, it's all about speed. It's all about driving the cost down so that you beat the next guy. Yep. But no one thinks about what happens if that concrete foundation fails because you waited you didn't wait long enough. Or a couple years ago, I guess it's been about 4 years ago now, the pad came out, which you basically dig a hole, you put this black pad in the ground, and it works for what it does. So I'm not saying it doesn't. It works for supporting the load. You put this 6x6 on it, and it spreads the load, but it doesn't require any concrete or anything like that. You can just backfill it and go build on it. Well, you hope that you have good compaction underneath that, because if not, you're going to have differential settlement.
Yep.
And when you backfill along it, you're putting dirt back on it. So the problem is now you're packing dirt back around it, and in dirt you have water, micronutrients, and oxygen, and those three things will help fuel rotting.
Yep.
No matter how pressure treated or a post is pressure treated, it still will rot over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ground screws will not rot, and so we can install them safely, quickly, and have that comfortable feeling knowing that if I put my family on that deck, it's not going to fail because of how I installed that.
Absolutely. So you said you're going to talk to us. How do you get those things in the ground? You said with a skid steer?
Yeah. So we have a Digga anchor drive. We represent Digga. They're an Australian company. They have a facility in Iowa. And so it's an anchor drive. So it's what's called an MM10K. It's a 10,000 foot-pound torque anchor drive, not to be confused with an auger drive. While it works the same way, the difference is our anchor drive has high torque, because as you screw this in, you get so much friction buildup that you're somewhere in the 6,000 to 7,000 foot-pound range minimum that you need to spin this. And so what it does is there's an adapter on it, and it slides right on top of here. It actually fits around the screw heads. And then the MM10K mounts to a skid steer mount or an excavator mount. We can do both. And so you'll set this excavator on it, and it'll spin. It only spins at 17 RPM. So it's very slow, but it's purposely slow. If it spun fast, well, if it bound up on anything in the ground that we don't know about, it would start to rip or tear, or you'd blow the seals in it. So like an auger drive typically is under 4,000 foot-pound. It's usually 2,500 to 4,000, depending on the make and model. And it spins very fast, because that's the idea, is it's going to spin fast at lower torques. And so what happens is, as it's spinning, if you were to use that and it were to bind up, you'd blow the seals in an auger drive. Now we do, for our fence company, we do temporary fence. So we've been doing it for a while now. We're the only one doing it currently in the temp fence market, but we use a ground screw. It's 35 inches long, and we'll use a auger drive with that if we have to, because you don't have that much friction in the ground that you can get it to seat as you need to. But when you get to these big ones, you have to do that. Now, if you have an application, we actually did a deck repair on the other on the fence company side. We did a deck repair not far from here for a municipality. It was up at the top of the hill. It was an observation deck. Well, we had no way to get this MM10K and a skid steer up into where we had to do it. So we have what's called an E-driver. It's basically a smaller version of an anchor drive, but it's like a drill, basically. It's got a head on it. It's got high torque. And what you do is you put that on the head of the screw, and then it has what's called a yoke. So it's basically an arm to help with counter rotation. And it's really slow. We have videos on that. If you go to YouTube, Caruso Distributors, you can see some of our videos. And it was able to install it because it was very tight area. It's electric, so I can hook it up to a generator, 110, and it got the job done. Or if you're, let's say, doing a foundation repair, so you have a lot of foundation guys that have to go into basements to support the beam joists when they settle. Well, you have headroom issues, so you're not going to get a machine in there. So you can put this electric drive in there and core the concrete, install a ground screw, and then you can build on it and jack up your beam and get it back into place.
No kidding. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah. And so the other part, the most important part for anyone listening and watching is this. Our ground screws are ICC certified. And our manufacturer went through a lot of money and about a 2-year process to get it as an approved foundation system. Now, when you go down with your deck design and you go down to your local municipality, you can present that report. We give it to everyone that wants it, and you can download it from CasuricDistributors.com. And you can take that, and it's has all the data in it. It's 12 pages, has all the data in it necessary to get your deck approval. I will tell you this ground screw in the report, it'll hold up to 37 or 38 kips. Now, anyone that knows about kips or that kind of system, it's 38,000 pounds of direct oppressive strength before it fails. That's massive. The pull on it is about, I think, 4 kips, about 4,000 pounds on pull. And then lateral load test was like 2 or 3 kips. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it still had good strength on it all around.
Sure.
So it's very competitive. The pricing wise, I'll kind of share pricing for people buying it. We typically retail them for right around $120. Plus you got the bolts, which are another like $3 or $4 each. And then the flange is like $15, $16. But for people that buy in volume, we can drive that cost down for them.
Sure.
So you think about the cost for what these ground screws are, and then in order to install it, you're saving anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 per deck or per foundation system, based on depending on how many you install, right?
Sure.
Not saving that kind of money if you do one.
Right.
10, 15, 20, 30, your cost savings starts to add up. What we also do at Casuric here is we rent the machine, the attachment. So all you got to do is provide a skid steer. We'll rent you the MM10K.
Makes sense.
It's port to port. So from the time it leaves here, the time it comes back, you pay for it. And we charge a daily fee plus any shipping. Or if you're close, we'll deliver it to you. And we've delivered all the way down to Virginia for someone that needed it instantly.
Nice.
But it's well worth it. So, because when you buy that attachment, you're spending, $6,000 plus for an attachment.
Sure.
With the adapter and everything. And, some contractors jumped right in and buy it. We've sold several of them now. Others go, let me rent it first, make sure I like it, and then we'll look to buy it.
Makes
That's
sense.
awesome.
Makes sense.
I'm excited to see that take off because that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I could see some version of that maybe coming into the fencing world. I mean, obviously with fence, we don't need to deal with as nearly as much load as you do with decks, so yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. Now, and one thing the three of us all know and carry is the post saver and fence armor there behind you over your other shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, and I was instantly thinking about it. When you're talking about decks, you're like, well, you see, when you get soil, like, I know where this is going. We're going to talk about rot, and which is a nice segue into the post saver product.
Sure. So we've been dealing with post saver and fence armor for a couple of years now. It was our second product that we brought on, and I instantly saw the benefit of it. So we'll talk about the fence market for a minute. If you ever pull a post out of the ground, and Joe, you probably should know this. You pull a post out of the ground, that rot zone tends to be 12 to 14 inches on average. Yeah. If you were to pull the rest of the post out below that, it's intact most times. Mm-hmm. And why? Because there's no water, there's no oxygen, and there's no micronutrients outside of that zone. So what we did was when we brought it on, our fence company was the first sort of dealer to start using it. And we put it into every package. So every proposal that we did, we automatically, if it was a wood fence, we included fence armor and post saver. And then if it was PVC or aluminum, we only did fence armor. And what we found out was people would ask, hey, can you take that? I don't want it. Take it out. So we revised the proposal and sent it to them. what we started doing, what we quickly learned was provide value. Again, it's providing your clients with something that they see the value in. And so now we have it as an ad cost on our proposals. 8 out of 10 people pick it now, which is crazy. And it's been like that pretty consistently. So now when we do a job, the post saver is 12 inches in the ground. It's a total of a 14-inch sleeve, 2 inches or so stick above grade. And we give a 20-year warranty on it. So while everything is pressure treated that we put in the ground, if you ever look at the disclosure or the warranty that's on pressure treating that a manufacturer gives you, and I can't say the word on here, but it's so much it's bad stuff. It's BS.
Yeah.
And very little really is covered. Okay. When we put this on, we stand behind giving you a 20-year warranty. And that's based on whether we install it or you install it. Now, if you install it, it has to be properly installed. And I'm going to show you 2 examples of what's not properly installed and what is installed properly in order to cover the warranty. But, if I'm putting a fence and I'm going to spend a lot of money, and fences are expensive these days, I want to get the most out of it, whether it's me or down the road when I sell the house.
Oh, yeah.
What I don't want to do is in 10 or 12 years, find out I've got 2 or 3 rotted posts. Now I got to pay the fence contractor to come back, dig it out, put new in, and put it back together. And so that's why we have this product. That's why we represent it. And we're selling it in, I think it's up to like 8 states or something now, or 7 states, whatever it is that we cover, because all of our products have different coverage areas. And we're selling a ton of this, and we want to sell more. Our dealers are selling them for us as well. We have several dealers that are taking it on and really promoting it. Lezer Lumber, who has some now and is going to be eventually buying more for their other facilities as this starts to take off the ground for them. We're doing the trainings with them and showing them. And it doesn't take much to put that on. It's basically just a heat torch to apply it. And then you roll it to make sure that the bitumen that's behind it seals it. Now, what I did was, again, sort of being skeptical on any product I ever represent, I got to test it out and see. So on YouTube, we did a video where I went ahead and I did a blue dye test. So I'll hold them like this. This is on my, I guess that would be your right. So on my left, this is Post Saver, and this is another competing product that we won't say the name. And so I dipped them in dye, and I let them sit for 60 days, 90 days, and then 1 year. And so the 1 year just came up. We're going to be pulling them. I actually went a little bit longer than 1 year, but we're going to pull them and cut them and see what they do and do another video. What we found with this particular product here is the manufacturer recommended you wrap it and put 1 staple in it. We actually put 3 staples in it. Now, the problem is, as you can see, the blue dye is almost through the entire thing. While I think this product works in a soil condition to hold soil back, it's not going to hold groundwater back.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, is that once the groundwater gets into it, it starts the rot process faster. And accelerates it. So we did that, and to me, this was a failure. We did another product that is a full wrap. It's a full PVC. It's no seams. It's like 4 foot long, and that same thing. So water came up through the bottom along between the sleeve and the actual post, and it did no good. I didn't have it here. I didn't bring it. This one, what we did is we dipped it. This is fully sealed all the way around. And we pulled it back just to check that we had good coverage area in there when we did it. And the only reason blue dye is right here is because of capillary action. Capillary action through pressure will push upwards.
It pushes it up.
Yeah, but it could not fully penetrate the entire rot zone. So, and this is sort of a false representation. What I mean by that is this. When you put this in the ground, unless you're next to the river, where groundwater is very, very high, you're not going to get capillary action in most of the projects you install because there's not groundwater below it. So water is not going to penetrate all the way down 36 inches and then push the weight
and then push up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it did its job. And that's why we like the product, is because it's not just something we want to just sell. We want to give our clients the value they need. And I love seeing this go on. We did, so failure rates are about less than 1% from the manufacturer out of the UK. We had a situation where we had a couple posts fail recently. So we shipped it over to the UK. They did some tests on it. Caleb heard about the test. And basically, it was the content of treatment in the post that accelerated the rot when we sealed it.
Oh, so you sealed it in.
Yeah, you sealed it in. And but we've installed a lot of these, and that percentage is way down. So if you do it right and the post is protected right, it'll last a long time. But I love being able to say a 20-year warranty.
Yeah, on a wood post.
Yeah. So now, any questions?
Fellas, before you jump into that one, I want to say we love it. We've been doing the same thing. But like I said before, family vacation.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I don't hit the road.
Absolutely.
If I don't hit the road, she's going to hit me. So.
Well, Caleb, I can't wait to see you here. And gosh, it's 2 weeks, and it's a couple
I'm
weeks.
Excited about it. I am. And then Chris, me and you need to do something next week on our show, and can't wait to see you guys. Have your guy call me, and we're going to talk about all the details and make sure we bring everything we need to bring so we can do the best.
We'll get on the horn with you on Monday, along with some of the other stuff you're working on as well.
Awesome. Sounds great. You guys.
Thanks, Caleb.
I'll see you soon.
See you. All right.
Yeah. So, that post saver is a product that I really, really like. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because as a fencing contractor, I know that you're exactly right. So all of the failure happens within that aerobic zone, right? Usually then, like you said, 12 to 14 inches. We usually say within 12 inches. I don't know that I've seen one that's like 14 inches, but it's not above. It's always that first foot, It's sometimes above though. Like sometimes above, because when it rains, it splashes some of the soil up on the post. So like you said, that post saver stays a few inches even above grade also.
Yep. Yeah. And so that way, should you get water at grade that just sits there, you got some protection above it.
Yep. There's also a conversation going on right now in the fencing community, and I'm not a chemist, so I'm just gonna watch and see what happens. But there's a conversation going on about the acidity in concrete now is different than it was 20 years ago. And that acidity is helping accelerate rot also. Like I said, I'm not a chemist. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so I don't have any idea about what that is, what that talks about. But irregardless, the post saver creates a barrier between whatever it is, whether we're talking about aerobic zones or we're talking about acidity in concrete.
Sure.
It creates a barrier is kind of the gist I was getting at, regardless of what's causing the failure.
Yeah. Well, think about this too. If you put concrete around the post, and there's a lot of guys that do, you're locking in the moisture.
Yeah.
So you're putting wet concrete that has moisture that cures, that then locks in that moisture. So you're already accelerating the rot process by doing that. So I'm not a chemist either.
Sure.
And I'm not an engineer. I'm just a contractor that has seen what works and what doesn't work.
That's right. Just based on real world experience.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about fence armor, because looks like you've got the duo there, the post saver and the fence armor.
Yep. So fence armor is a complementary product to post saver. And so we sell to homeowners associations, landscapers. Our own company, we use it as an add cost to the proposal. And so what's nice about this is it's a North American galvanized sleeve that wraps your post where the weed whacker, and some people call weed eater, but weed whacker destroys the post. And no matter what, when a weed whacker is spinning at 25,000 RPMs or whatever it may be, it's penetrating and destroying. It just takes over time. And I know Al does a great job on their, and the company over there does a great job on social media showing like bad posts and stuff like that. And we share them on ours as well. And but you know, anytime you're going to destroy it, why not protect it? And it doesn't take that much, right? And the nice thing is this is considered a full sleeve. Now we're just showing you the half of it. There's another slide piece that goes
on the back. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the demi, which basically wraps around the corner, which you're going to see on PVC or aluminum typically, but you can do full wraps there too. And we hit that area, you know, we're going right about grade up. So everyone weed whacks different. Landscapers tend to burn it, right? So they want to go right to the bottom.
Yep.
A homeowner likes his yard and he wants to keep it up a little bit higher. So you've got enough space in there in order to put it in the right location.
Nice.
And different colors. So there's a multitude of colors we can do. We've done special colors. But your typicals are going to be black, galvanized, and white and almond tend to be the most.
Okay.
We can do square or round. It doesn't matter. Also, what contractors should know and talk about is every mill's a different size.
Sure.
So as an example, a 4x4 here is not 3.5; it's 3 5/8, right? So you gotta have some room in there so that when you put it on, it covers it. Plus, you have to also compensate for the sleeve as well.
Sure.
So we had Al and them make us special sizes. So we run a bigger size than your typical so that it fits around and doesn't look like you're jamming it on there.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we're selling a ton of these all over the place in the Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware area, New Jersey area too. And we're kind of like handling that. We've handled up in the Boston area. We did a little work with Divine Fence for some of the post saver and stuff.
Nice.
As one.
Yeah.
And I love it. And so whether we're just doing it for our own company or we're doing it for our dealers and our clients, again, there's value there protecting it. Landscapers, and we say this all the time when we meet people at our shows, you know, if you're a landscaper that's going to bid a job, you're not the first contractor in there that's cut the grass or weed whacked.
Yeah.
So if you see that the posts are destroyed at the bottom, why do you want to get the blame down the road when they say, hey, you got to this post failed because of your weed whacker? Let's say it broke or something.
Sure.
All right, now you're going to fix it. Now you're going to spend labor time to go do that. And why not create an add value? All right, if we're going to cut your lawn and we're going to be under contract, here's an option to add these so we don't destroy them more than the last couple guys have.
Yep. That makes sense. Well, and it's also kind of a way to illustrate, hey, that post might have failed because of weed eaters, but we've only been here 6 months and we put these on there. So it failed because of the last guy, not because of us. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, they're great products. I love using them. I love seeing them go out the door, and we're doing more and more of it.
Sure. All right. What's next on the list? I saw you put something up there.
So this is called Quick Set. Okay. It's a resin bag material. It's 2-part chemical. I know you've done some videos on it with a very large corporation that.
Yeah, I didn't do it on that. So I did it. Yeah. So there's 2 others that we did it on. Yeah.
So anyways, this was our very first product. This is the one I saw at Jackpot. And here's what brought me to this product, just in general. I thought, wow, here's a way to do a couple posts with a product that I don't have to kill my back carrying 80-pound bags of concrete.
Yep.
Right. And that in today's world with tough labor to get it, right, to find labor, and labor doesn't want to work as hard as previous generations, let's say, and with workman's comp claims and issues there, why not have something that I could carry in one hand and go install rather than these big, bulky, heavy bags of concrete? So that's how that all started. And what I saw as the benefit was we could pour that in a hole. It could set up, and roughly within 15 minutes or so, you could build on it if you needed to. and it cures within about an hour or so. So that was sort of the start of it. And then the more I kind of investigated the marketplace and the other products, what I also liked about this one was that it's folded in half with this black seam to keep the chemicals separated.
Okay.
So when you open it and you snap it, it pops off. So now the other products are either you mix two different bottles, let's say, or you got to roll one from one product A to product B or whatever.
Yeah.
Which you don't have to do that. You can start mixing it, and you basically use something hard surfaced like a corner, whether you're on the back of a truck, you're on the fence, you're on a shovel, something like that, to mix it back and forth. You want to get a nice gray consistency of it. And then what I don't have to do is I don't have to get a knife or scissors and cut it and open it. This is pre-cut already.
Oh,
so
nice.
Literally there's a tab you grab and you tear it back, and now I can pour it in. Now, everyone has concrete in their head.
Sure.
So they think big hole, right?
Yeah.
Concrete's so cheap. Where this is not that idea. This is smaller hole, the better. So if I'm doing a 4-inch post, I don't need anything more than a 5 or 6 inch hole. You need just enough to get in there, because this acts like a tree root. When you look at a tree, only 10% is in the ground, the root system.
Yeah.
90% of it's out of the ground. So that's how this acts. And what happens is as it starts to set and expand and cure, it starts to push on the surrounding soil to get the compaction. Now, like anything else, I was, again, susceptible or skeptical when this came out. So I tried it. And I did it on our displays out front. And then I waited for them to cure up. And while you can move them a little bit, they're locked into the ground. You can tell the difference than a sloppy in concrete or in dirt post. And that's what I liked about it. And so we use it from time to time. We don't use it for every single job. We don't use it for every single post. We'll use it on small little jobs that we need to run out and do. Or if we're doing corners or I'm trying to think, or some line posts and stuff like that. That's typically how we do it, because most times we're backfilling with either the soil that's there, or if we're using concrete, we're using aluminum posts or PVC, and so that's how we use it. And what I also like about it is it's stronger than the other products that are out there in touch. Now, chemically, I'm not a chemist, so that would leave that up to them to decide.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is we've put this around posts. In fact, I did a display sample, and it goes with us when we go on these tours for these shows. And I did it against one other product in ours. And ours is more dense because it doesn't have as much foaming action. So you don't lose the strength of it. It stays in a concentrated area. And when you actually press it in with your thumb, you can tell the difference of the sponginess of it.
Mm-hmm.
We have videos where they've used this product on 35-foot long like flagpoles, and it works beautifully.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, so that kind of answers one of my questions. I was going to ask on the difference between metal and steel posts. The feedback we got on one of the tests was that, well, the steel post, it was cold and the steel posts were cold, and it transferred some of the heat because it's like an exothermic reaction. Well, that affected it, that sort of thing. But it sounds like that product, you've used it, or it's been used on steel posts.
Yeah, we've used it on aluminum and steel posts and have not had that issue. And like, I'll tell the guys, let's say it's in cold weather, in the Pennsylvania area here where I'm at, you get basically April to November of good, like warm weather or warmer weather. And then the cold kicks in and stuff like that. But if you're using it and it's a colder day, put it up on the dashboard on the way to the job. If you're doing a couple of these, you can't put them all on. Or leave them in the truck. Keep them as warm as you can, close to room temperature prior to installation. And I know that becomes a logistical issue, but when you use it, it works. This is a Q1000, and there's a Q700, and then there's a Pro version. So the Q1000 will do up to 3 or 4 posts, again, depending on the size of the hole.
Sure.
I've had a few people go, hey, listen, I did a 2-inch post. I dug a 6-inch hole. I needed like 3 bags of this. And so we try to teach them the opposite. Because
Right.
you don't want to pay for 3 bags of this stuff for one hole.
Sure.
And so that's sort of why we use this. And then you have, so that's Q1000. Then you have a Q700, which will do 2 or 3. And then the Pro version has actually a high strength in it. So it will go up to, I think it's 4,000 PSI on that one. And so it's used for more commercial applications.
Sure.
Where this is typically used a lot that we've seen is the European market.
Okay.
And I think it's because the European market is more open to change and more open to ideas. The American market, I think all of us, we struggle with change as a whole. We like the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Sure.
And so over in Europe, our manufacturer sells tons of this stuff. We'd like to see more here in the United States, but it's been, I think everyone that produces something like this in this market are all having the same sort of struggles.
Yeah.
That you'll sell some of it, but it's like repeat, keeping everyone using it. Everyone tends to fall back to concrete.
It's kind of the standard. It's the old standard, right? Is that everyone's used it. They kind of know how it acts. Now, listen, I mean, you're in these fence groups. You see the same conversations that, like, we still can't decide on wet versus dry compaction, wet set concrete versus dry compaction. Like, that is a conversation.
Sure.
Conversation might be putting it nicely. So it's like we can't even like branch out into other methods of concrete without massive discussion, and it'll go on for years. So I think you're right. I think if you want to talk about taking it to a completely different concept, it's going to require some time to have these conversations, and honestly to see some go in the ground that have been there for a while. You know, it's you almost have to prove it to people. Say, hey, here it is. It's been in the ground. It's worked. When we originally tested that, I had 2 use cases in mind. One was for repairs because it can go off really quickly. And then 2 for areas where water is an issue. Getting water on site is an issue. Now, whether it's terrain or whether there's just not. So on commercial, sometimes we'll get into commercial before there's water available on the site.
Yeah.
So like if they're wanting to secure a material laydown area or something like that. So then we've got to manage how to get water on site. And I understand you can put a couple 100-gallon tote on a truck. We have those.
We do that. Yep.
But sometimes that's not an option though, right? Like I'm not there's the comments are crazy, right? But I'm like, listen, I'm not talking about every project everywhere in the world. I'm saying a couple times a year, we have a project where it is a massive pain to get water on that project. Like, can we figure it out? Of course. But anyway, those were kind of the 2 use cases I had in mind. Repairs, where you want to be quick and easy. You want it to go off quickly. That way you can finish and get out one trip. Or project where getting water on site just wasn't practical, wasn't easy sort of thing.
And it has its purpose for that, right? We do here, the fence company does a lot of repairs all the time. And you can get in, get out, and that's a perfect application for it.
So that product, what's the time to where it's really set and firm, where you can, like on a wood fence, how long do you wait before you can start working with it as far as 2x4s and pickets?
I would typically 15, 20 minutes.
Perfect. Yep.
What happens is, and I noticed this because the time, whenever we've used it, like in the very beginning, back when I started doing this in 2019, I would pour it and then people would go, hey, let me check that out. Hang on. I do that. Yeah. Can you do it in concrete? Sure, you can, but then you got to readjust it. The problem is as this is curing, it's creating a form and a bond.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you actually, if you were to just go up and grab it when it's not cure, you actually create a void in there. Now that's okay. If that happens, all you have to do is mix some more up or mix another bag. If you had a bunch of these, if you had someone wanting to do it that way, and fill that void back in. That's all you got to do. It'll still work. It's still a good product to do that, but you got to fill it back in and then it does its job. But it's almost like set it and forget it.
Yeah. Nice. I like it. And so when I'm out there in a couple of weeks, we'll talk more about that product, do a video on it or something like that, just to give everything a fair shake sort of thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Now, we spent a lot of time talking about Concert distributors because that's who we're having the training event at here in a couple of weeks. But you've got a couple more irons in the fire, don't you?
I do. So we'll talk three more products real fast, and then we'll.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So this is I think all the products are great, but then I always get excited for the next one always.
Yeah.
So this is called Muck Tape.
Okay.
Muck is a tape measure. Now everyone can resonate with the problem with your tape measure. I have 4 of them between the house and my trucks.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest problem with the tape measure, Joe?
You can't. Well, for me, I can't get it out long enough.
Okay.
Or it breaks.
So, yeah. Well, but over time doing that, where does all the mud and dirt that you collect?
Yep.
It
Absolutely.
goes inside the mechanism.
Inside there, yeah.
And destroys it.
Mm-hmm.
This product has a wiper, and you can see. I'll get real close to the camera. There's a yellow. There we go. That little yellow wiper in there. It's patented. It actually goes around the tape, and as you run this back in every time, day in and day out, it pulls all the mud and debris off your tape so that it doesn't get inside.
No way.
So I've been involved with this product for a year and a half. I'm also an owner of Muck Tape now.
Nice.
And so we're going to have worldwide distribution of it. Our company will be handling. And if you go to any store and you go down the tape measure, I can't tell you how many tape measure aisles I've been down in the last year and a half to study these things.
Yeah.
And every single one that's out there does not address that problem.
No.
Okay. And I'm talking the big guys and the little guys. They don't address it. So this product has been in development for a while. It's been patented for a while. And the gentleman, the inventor, comes from the construction industry, just like I do. And so we resonate with a product like this because we use it every day, and we're tired of throwing our tape measures out the window. And the tape measures are getting more and more expensive. They're adding features
absolutely
to them.
They are.
You know, you get companies out there that say it'll fall 100 feet, the drop test. They'll talk about the tape stand test or the standout test. There's a lot of different tests that you can do with this, but all of them don't address that problem.
Uh-huh.
Now we're in our final graphic design right now as we speak. In fact, I was on the phone with him this morning to go over the final what we're doing detail wise. We're ready for production right now. So as soon as we have this all wrapped up, it's going into production, and we're going to be out there distributing it all across the country with different, lumber stores, hardware stores, big names, little names. You're going to be able to find it everywhere. Very competitively priced for the area, or for the product, I should say. Mm-hmm. Something like this, it will come in 25, 30, and then 35 foot.
Answer my question. I was gonna ask about how long. Okay.
Yep. We've been using this for a while now. I got actually a couple of these in my trucks now, so I get to try them out. Because again, I'm looking for something. I go, this doesn't work. This is bad. Mm-hmm. I cannot find anything yet wrong with this.
Nice.
And it has a great feel. So you can visit us at concertdistributors.com. You can email us if you want to be another dealer or a sub distributor of ours. Mm-hmm. You can do that. And we're going to start getting this out. Product will start arriving roughly midsummer.
Okay.
And we're going to get out there. So we're going to be doing shows. And in January coming up, we're going to be doing the National Hardware and Builder Show in January. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And we'll have this and all of our other products on there.
I love it.
Specific questions?
Just that you and I will be talking about that when I come out as well.
Yes, we will.
So we like I said, we do retail, regional, wholesale, but also we're getting into e-commerce for fence fittings and that sort of thing. So I could see that going very well. Going very well.
You know, and on average, if I had to like look at the contractor market, and I've talked to quite a few superintendents on some of our commercial jobs, and I'll show them this. And I've had several go, I'll buy a couple of cases from you and I'll sell them to the guys here.
Right.
And so it's good to hear that because it's a very simple, easy product that everyone gets.
Well, because how many tape measures have you seen that have that, you know, whatever, that 5-6 inches just sticking out, and you can never like get it back in there?
Yep.
And now my granddad would make us keep using it till like you couldn't like get it out anymore. And anyway, but I know we've thrown away our fair share of tape measures for sure.
And tape measures are I mean, you know, you look at the what's out there right now. Tape measures like a good one that professionals are going to use, not everyday mom and pops that use it a couple times a year or whatever.
Yeah, the thin plastic ones. Yeah.
You know, you're talking $30 north.
Easily.
Now there's a few that are $27.99, $25.99.
35 to 40 is kind of where we set.
You know? Yeah. And how many tape measures, you know, will you use in a given year? You're at least one or two.
Yeah, I bet if we looked at it, so we've got, well, we give some to our subs for like thank you type things because I know how often everyone goes through them. I bet we go through probably 30, 40 a year. I bet between all of our people, our subs, we give them away to some people that come and buy retail from us, that sort of thing. Yeah, I could 40 or 50 a year.
So what if we could turn that 40 or 50 a year into 40 or 50 every 2 or 3 years?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's fantastic. And it's, yeah, like I said, you and I will be having that conversation because I think as soon as I talk to the team about this on Monday, be like, all right. So because right now, okay, so the larger conversation going on right now is how do we reduce expenses?
Yeah.
Right. Like I think, you know, I'm not a politician. This is not that show, but I think the economy in general will probably be slowing before it revs back up again. So we need to prepare, right? And we need to look at our P&L. We need to start cutting expenses where we can. And this is one of those items. It could be one of those items where we say, hey guys, we're going through 40 of these things a year at 35, 40 bucks a pop. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
So what if we solve that problem?
And we have that same issue here too, is, you know, we're always looking on ways we can be more productive doing what we do, save cost. Cause you know, in sort of the fence industry, now I don't care how good you are at selling people, you can only charge so much.
Correct. Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, you have to drive that cost down. So we do the same thing here.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And, you know, I mean, right now, I mean, even still, our market's pretty hot still. I mean, we're selling the work we want to sell, sort of thing. It's, you know, and we can have a conversation on how much, you know, how much backlog is too much. We're in a good spot. We're a little bit past where we want to be, but we're in a good spot. And so we start pricing our next projects accordingly to keep us kind of in that sweet spot. But there's going to come a day where that starts getting pulled back, right? Yeah. And we really have to start looking at P&L and saying, we don't have that income that we used to, right? We're operating at a lower income percentage than we were in the past. You know, back in the good old days where we sold everything we wanted to, you know, we need to start making some choices. So I think if we start making these decisions today rather than tomorrow, I think we'll be in pretty good shape for that. But this is kind of that thought, though, is that, all right, like I said, 40 tape measures at $40 a pop. Yeah. Not nothing. Yeah. You know, if we can cut that number in half, some of them are still going to get left on job sites. Some of them are going to get run over with trucks. Silly stuff happens, right? And it's going to happen. But if we can cut down the number of them that get thrown away because they won't go all the way in, then that's a win.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you love the calls when you get, hey, your crew left a tape measure. They left pins in the ground. They left a drill here. You know,
yeah,
it's expensive.
I left all the stuff on the back porch. You go, all the stuff? Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I tell you what. So the guys are going to come right back over and they're going to get that picked up. While they're there, how about they pick up a check? Save you a stamp. You know, we try to make it a win-win here, but I don't know. I always hate those calls.
Exactly.
Yeah, because now I got to send somebody over to pick up. Anyway,
And then
Yes.
the two final things that we represent, we started talking about one with the ground screw Digga drive.
Yeah.
So we represent the anchor drives in that market. So it can be used for not just our ground screws. It can be used for other installation purposes.
Okay.
And then eTerra. eTerra is out of the West Coast. So we're starting to represent their products more. And they're innovative attachments for skid steers, excavators, and the like. And so there's some really cool products over there. And so they have cement mixing machines. They have flail mowers, a stump grinder that I think is awesome. It's a stump grinder that mounts to the skid steer.
Really?
And it spins. Yeah, it spins. And you can see them just, basically take out the stump back and forth. But it's a versatile machine. And so we actually just bought a flail mower from them for one of our jobs. So we got to clear out a bunch of fence line in a wooded area. And we're going to have it skid steer mounted. So we can just basically walk through and trim everything, and so they've got all kinds of stuff that we're going to be representing more and more. But eTerra is not really big on the East Coast, and we're going to be a part of that. So
Good
again,
opportunity.
That's our company. That's what we do, and it all lends itself to our other companies, so that when we're out there selling these products, we can say we're not just salespeople of them or representatives. We use them every day.
Well, listen, that's the selling point, right? Is that we're selling this because we believe in it and because we use it, right? That's what we tell people that come and buy from us for fittings or whatnot. We're like, I will sell you the same thing that I will send out my guys out with and that we'll put our name on. Yep. Like it's that kind of quality. I believe in it so much. I buy massive amounts of it so that I can sell it to other people also. I think that's a unique selling proposition over large home improvement stores.
100%, and you can go into those stores and you can stain. I have been down the stain aisles of these stores more than I ever thought I would be, because when you go and you take on a product, you tend to see it more. It's like when you first started installing fence, I'm sure, back when you were a kid, you just pay attention to it more. And then you look at, look how that was installed. That's wrong. Or
yeah, that's not going to work.
But when you go look at the available stains in the marketplace, there are other low VOC stains, don't get me wrong, made by some big corporations. But when you see the value of Expert Stain and Seal from Caleb and them, and you see the cost compared to what's down those aisles, it's a better value.
Yeah, especially when you're comparing quality products. I mean, there'll be some loss leader products on those aisles, but we're not even in the same ballpark when we talk about quality.
Yeah. I'll give you an example of, so being that we have multiple companies here, fence, excavating, land development, the distribution, we've got an online railing store. We sell railings across the country. Nice. And a fabric structure company. So when on the fence side, so we do have all these companies, but we are always trying to deliver value to our clients and try to do more things. The thing that I see in the fence industry is people only want to their tunnel vision. Yeah. They only want to sell fence. They only want to sell limited versions of it. I know there's some contractors that will only they don't give a client a bunch of options. They'll give just a couple options to pick from, and that's what they want to do, and they do that day in and day out. We tend to win more work because we do more things. So we had a commercial client that reached out to us and wanted us to install and stain their fence, and it was a big commercial job. It was like 1,400 feet of it, and I said, "Sure, let's do it." So we gave them a price. They instantly went, "Yep." And when I said, "Hey, why did you pick us?" They said, "Look, we couldn't get anyone to want to do this, both services. We only got one or the other. We want one guy to do everything." Yep. So that's what we try to do. We're a multi-solution contractor at heart, to give our clients more options. And that's what we do every day in the residential market with all of our products.
We had this conversation in a strategic meeting here at the office. It's been probably a month ago. Like, the two ways to make more money is find more clients or sell more to your existing clients. That's really it. That's the two models, right? Why not focus on our current clients, because they already know, like, and trust us. They've already trusted us with the project. It's went well. There's been no bubbles, no troubles. So would you think they would be more likely to do business with us or with an unknown? Probably with us, because we've done a good job. They know us. They know the system. They've been through our communications. They know how well we communicate. They're comfortable with us. So what else do they need that revolves around fencing, that it's an easy conversation to say? It'd be a weird conversation to say fence and roofs, right? Like, well, those two things don't seem related.
Sure.
But fence and stain makes a lot of sense. Fence and outdoor patios maybe makes a lot of sense. Fence and decks makes sense. Fence and landscapes might make sense. So I'm a pretty big proponent of that. Figure out what you can offer your existing clientele that benefits you both, right? Yeah. Gets you more business, but also you're also managing less clients too, which also isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, and on our fence side, because that seems to be kind of like the majority we'll talk about for a little while now, is we sell tiki torches that go on the posts. Uh-huh. We sell planter baskets. So the ladies, Mother's Day's coming up. Uh-huh. I throw a couple planter baskets out there on that fence, up in the corners or whatever. And we sell lighting and install lighting on fence. Okay. So I don't know if you've seen, so you can get like a 4x4 cap or a 2x2 cap. It's got LED lighting, whether it's broadcast out or down. And you can go and run all your low voltage wiring, connect it to every single post, or you want to do every other post or only the corners. Mm-hmm. And then you can install a Bluetooth enabled 110 it's a 110 watt outlet, but it's a Bluetooth enabled transformer. So now you can control it from your phone and turn your lights on at night. So again, it goes back to, you're spending all this money to spend more time at home and hang out in your backyard. Yeah. Make it look nice. Now I can tell you, obviously being a fence guy now, my yard will probably look the best when we get to that point. Right now, I got vehicles and stuff in my yard, and we have a pretty big property that eventually we're gonna build a house on. And so when we build the house, we're gonna make it an entertainment area. We're gonna hopefully get a pool in and have a patio. We're gonna fence it in because we've got dogs and stuff. And when we do, I'm gonna put every feature I possibly can on this thing that we have, because I like it, and I want to spend more. When I go in my backyard, I want it to light up and look nice. And it's funny. It's sort of the Italian side of me. So my ancestors and stuff. If you went back to the old country, what did you do in your yard? You washed your steps, your concrete. You swept my dad. To this day, will sweep not just the driveway and not just the steps. He'll sweep the curb in the front of his property. Huh. So you spend time, keeping your yard nice. And I can't tell you how many times as a kid, we'd go out and I would have to help cut grass or weed whack or whatever and make the yard look nice. And my dad was I don't know how your dad was. You cut it this way this week, you cut it this way this week, and now this week you cut it on an angle. Uh-huh. Right? You get this look that you would do. And then you'd go wash the driveway, the concrete, and we'd rinse it out to the street and rinse our curb area. And so I want to, when we do our property, we want to have that really nice yard that looks nice because you come home to it. When I was a kid, when I say I was a kid, I bought my first house young. I was like 19 when I bought my first house. Wow. And I'd come home after working 60 hours for a week, and I was in the yard. I edged it. Everything looked nice. I trimmed it. I cleaned it. And then I'd sit back and I'd go, wow, okay, that looks fantastic. And every time I pulled in, till the next time I had to cut the grass. I loved looking at it.
Absolutely. I think there's something to be said about being, proud of your space, and you can take that, you can apply that to so many different areas. But I like getting back to the core here. I like the idea of offering upsells that provide value, but that are also in your silo.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about lights, which actually we've gotten a couple calls for lighting. I don't have a good solution for it, so we'll also be talking about that while I'm out. But yeah, this makes perfect sense. I mean, the staining was it's an easy upsell for us, because again, the conversation is now you're spending a very significant amount of money. I mean, 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, they were already spending good money on a fence. Now it's gotten to be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You need to protect it, right? So you've got a car. All right. You got a nice car. Do you wash it ever? Of course you do. Do you wax it once, twice a year? Of course you do. Keep it looking nice. Same thing we were just talking about. Well, then you ought to do that with your fence too, don't you think? I mean, your fence is going to be a significant portion of your property value, and it's what everyone sees when they pull up.
Yeah.
So my dad had this saying. He's like, so picture your house as art. What kind of frame are you putting around that? Right? Are you going to just like tack something together and put around it a Mona Lisa? Of course not. You're going to have a beautiful frame that accentuates the art and that adds to the beauty of that art. What does your fence say about your house? That sort of thing.
Well, think about this too. I don't know about your market, but here, so we've always used Western red cedar since the beginning of the company and all that. And so since I've been here 4.5 years now, I guess it is, we continue to use that product. Then the pandemic hit and we couldn't get Western red cedar after a while.
Yeah.
And so, quality is so important to me and to the company and everyone else in here that our staff, that I was so reluctant to take on Suji. So, and I Suji is a cedar.
Yeah.
I get all that. But we were so comfortable with Western red. I was kind of like, I don't know. And I talked to so many people before we did it. I had the sales reps in here. We would talk about it. They would try to say, I actually had 2 sales reps say, when I would say, hey, so how long is this going to last compared to Western red cedar? The answer I got was, we're not sure. We don't know. It's new to the market. So now we had to adapt to it, because we got to a point we couldn't even get any Western red cedar. And I was actually talking to the mills in Canada to bring Alaskan cedar down, which is more of a yellow tint cedar. But the cost did not make sense. And so eventually I pulled the trigger. And so we bought some. I bought a little bit just to try it first. And so we bought it. And so my thing was with the stain was, you now want to use it more than ever to protect, because we don't know how long this new cedar in the marketplace is going to last.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is it going to last like Western red cedar? Some Western red cedar, we have clients that we installed 20, 25 years ago, and with maintenance,
right,
it's still, some of the original stuff is still standing and fine.
Of course. Yeah.
And so with the Suji, we recommend it even more. Put this application on it, put the stain on it, give it that longevity that it needs. Every 3 years, go back and give yourself a new coat and get as long as you can out of this. Fences, wood in general and fence in general is very expensive these days.
Oh, absolutely. And the forecasts I see don't say it's getting any better anytime soon.
Wow.
Which makes sense, because I had this conversation with another fence company last night at the home show. We were just talking about prices, and he had brought that up. He's like, it's crazy that some of my customers are saying, well, I'm going to wait until things normalize and prices come back down. Why would prices come back down?
Yeah.
Why? Like, what motivation? If I'm a Western red cedar mill and I'm running at full production and I sell as much of it as I produce for a price that I dictate the price, why would I sell it for less? Why? I have no motivation. Now, if demand waned and now I'm producing more than I sell, I've got some that sits on the lot for 30 days and I want to start moving it. Now I'm motivated to change my price.
Yeah.
But I mean, these guys are selling it as it comes off the production line. Like, there's no reason for the price to come back down. There's no way it will.
Well, we've had clients during this process, the pandemic, is lock in materials.
Yeah.
We're getting more and more jobs now, and obviously on the commercial side than residential, but where they'll say, listen, you're under contract, buy the material now, we'll pay you stored materials. So you don't come back to us when you go to install it and say, hey, you're going to pay me another 30% because material went up.
Yeah. Yeah. Same conversations here. We say, hey, once we get the contract, we're say, there's a force majeure clause in here. Like if things get crazy and they're out of our control, we're going to come back and renegotiate this. However, we can segregate your materials in the yard. I can send you a picture. You can come inspect them if you want. We can give you a certificate of insurance on that material.
Yep.
But we're going to need paid for it. But now we're not talking about force majeure, right? Like you said, you lock in your materials. This can go either way. I don't mind, either way. Actually, because my business runs on profit as a percentage, if it goes up, it goes up. I'll make better money as a percentage if it does go up. So this really is a win for you to lock this price in. I'm not going to charge you rent on the land that this thing takes up. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. Now the flip side to that is, prices were to go down, but how much they'll go up a lot more than they'll go down in general.
Yeah. What are the chances? It's not worth the risk. Let's use gasoline or diesel as an example. I mean, it goes up, and then when it comes back down, it never comes all the way back down, right? So when I was a kid, it was around $1 a gallon. Well, then it'd go up to $1.10, pull back to $1.02, $1.20, pull back to $1.10. You know what I mean? Like it never goes all the way back. Sometimes it'll pull back, but like I said, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, just because there's no motivation to.
Well, I remember, so like the late 90s, early 2000s, right before I moved here, gas prices, I remember they were like $1.25, $1.50, and they jumped to like $2.25. And I think I remember it because I was also broke back then. I didn't have a lot of money. Yeah. And I remember everyone bitched and complained, pardon my language, but complained about that hike. And then what happened was it came down to like $2, right? So it didn't come all the way down, but it came down to something. And then everyone got used to it.
That's right.
That's what's going on right now. So if you think about this happened in 2008, 2009, right? And then it's now happening again now. So 2 years ago, oil was negative barrels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What was it like minus 30, minus 40?
Whatever. Yeah. If you had capacity to take on oil, they would pay you to take it on.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I remember gas was like $1.65, $1.70. Like I never thought I would have seen that in this day and age.
Right.
Well, what happened? It quickly went the other way around. I filled up my truck the other day. It was 26 gallons and it was like $118 on our way to when we went to the hospital the other day. And I don't like it, but you get used to it. Now it'll come back down.
Yeah.
But I think the new norm today is somewhere in the $3.50 range.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're probably right. Like you said, people get used to paying it. And when they're used to paying it, they'll take a little bit of a pullback. They'll take that as a win. Yeah. But like when it does pull back to $3.50, they'll be rejoicing in the streets.
Yeah.
No one's ever going, question. It didn't go back all the way. Like, can we have the rest of that money back? No. Like that's already locked into the profits.
And the economy is in a very delicate spot right now in that you have high demand still. You have high prices. And this only can go on for so long. And so what we have seen more demand, not just for our products. We've seen more demand in bidding for jobs than I have ever seen in a long, long time. And so you're seeing all this, but at some point there's an equilibrium of when too much is too much.
Yeah.
It'll start to correct itself and come down. And that's when we're going to hit that recession. I don't think it's going to be anything what it was in '08, but
No,
you,
I don't.
you,
I think there were safeguards. There's always safeguards put in place after something like that, and that's why everyone says it's never going to be that thing again. Like they put safeguards in place, it'll be something completely different. It's
yep.
something no one has anticipated. But it's new housing starts are still setting a record here in our market. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't. Again, there's no motivation for anything to change.
No.
The houses are selling for record highs. The builders can't keep up with production. So why would home prices do anything but go up? They have to.
And to kind of stay with that for a minute in the fence market,
Yeah,
this is where fence contractors, not just in selling value, but know their value, right? And I'm still seeing it to this day. So the one thing that we're good at is knowing what our competition does.
Mhm.
And I know everything about pretty much everyone around me, the small guys and the big guys. And they have the opportunity right now to charge more, not just to charge more, but because their value is going up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And provide more to them and to the clients at the end.
Yeah.
But everyone's still racing to the bottom in this industry. And I don't understand it.
It doesn't make sense. Well, okay, so let's tie this in with the post saver fence armor conversation. So if I'm at $50 a foot, I could probably be at $55 a foot and not really lose much business. Well, okay, so but when I increase my price to 55, there also needs to be some value there.
Yep.
I can't raise it willy-nilly. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. There should always be value there, right? So that's when you get into this conversation of what can I do to bring more value, right? What can I do? I can bring on a product that lets me give the 20-year warranty on wood posts. That is absolutely unheard of. Also bring in the fence armor. That way, that's an easy conversation too with the homeowner. Say, hey, you just spent a lot of money on this fence. How about we protect those posts so you keep, enhances the lifespan of this fence so you don't have to do this for a long time.
Yep.
It's an easy conversation. It really is. And now you're justified bringing $55, $58 a foot, something like that, right? Like you need to know your numbers. But this is part of the conversation. So there's a gentleman named Tom Reber. He's got a Contractor Fight Club. They talk about bringing respect back to trades. And part of that is ensuring that you get 50% gross profit. That is your baseline. In fencing, there's a lot of companies, and we were one of them, that was very comfortable at 35% gross profit, right? And Tom's point is 35 you can get by, 50% you can grow, right? You can benefits for employees, better work sites, better equipment, on and on and on. But you also have to bring that value, the commensurate value. If you're going to raise your prices so much that it bumps your gross profit by 15%, you had better bring 20 or 25% worth of value so that people still feel like it's justified.
Yeah.
Anyway, all this to say, I think the products that you're talking about, whether it's post save or fence armor, are a great way to do it. And it's an easy way to do that. It's a fairly easy way to bring more value to the clients.
Well, there's two things that, three things really that come to mind right off the bat. So first of all, I know my competition doesn't do this add value. Here's why I know. Two things. One, I see their proposals because we'll get clients that'll say, hey, listen, here's their proposal. We all do it to each other.
Everyone, yeah.
So you don't see it on there. And two, if they were doing it, they got to buy it from me.
Yeah.
Yep. So, which I don't mind. I love good competition. I love good competition. Yeah. And so we don't see that. But I've had people, in fact, I had a owner in October, I guess it was. We were at a show, came up to me. He didn't know who I was. And because I typically don't start off with, I own a fence company. I usually talk about concerned distributors. And so eventually I said, hey, I know you're my competition. I know who you are. And we talked. He goes, listen, I got to thank you. I said, why? He goes, you made me improve my proposal, because we put out a really nice proposal, you made me improve myself, and you basically showed me I could charge more money for what I do and show my value. And you also were adding products and stuff like that, because you can see the post saver, the fence armors, and the stain. And so that's all you got to do. You regardless of what your margin is or what you want to charge.
Sure.
The industry I come from, heavy civil, doesn't have those kind of margins. Now you can make them through change orders and stuff like that, but that's not typical in this industry. Yeah, that seems somewhere between 35 and 50 seems to be what I see of what other people do. And so, but you got to deliver the value. I had a client call us and said, "Hey, why should we go with you? You're 30% higher." And I said, "Where do you work at?" And he told me it was a very large cable company. And I said, "Well, I know how much that cable costs, and I know how much I pay, right? But why do I pay for that value? Because I get something out of it, right? I have to get something out of it, else I'm not willing to pay for it."
That's right.
I said, that goes with this fence. I said, "Yep, we're not the cheapest. I get that, but we provide all the value. Did you see the products that we are offering you on here? Is anyone else offering them? No. Okay. So we're looking out for you as the client to make sure you get the most bang for your buck." And he said, "Oh, makes sense. We'll go with you." And that's it. And that's what it's about, is offering the client something more that you can give to them. And it's not just about, I'm not a hard sell kind of guy.
Sure.
Never have been. I don't. In fact, you could ask my wife, anyone that tries to do that at my door, I'd shut the door. I'm done. It doesn't work for me. Right. But if I can just say, "Hey, listen, let's get more time out of your post. Let's protect it. Let's get more time out of your fence or your deck by staining it or treating it and protecting it." And that goes a long way to do that. I wish I really would. If I had the time, I'd love to go knock on every single competitor's door and say, "Let me teach you how to sell 30% more."
Yeah.
But I don't have that time, so I don't do that.
Well, I mean, that's honestly, that's what one of the missions of this channel is, right? Is to help improve the industry by helping the contractors improve, right?
Yeah.
And so this conversation came up. So we do a local training here. Last year was in late October. I think this year we're looking at mid-November. But anyway, we do a local training here, similar to Staining University. It's a smaller, more concise version. Just we covered a little bit less. Anyway, but that conversation, I had this conversation with someone else in a different industry. They're like, "Wait, so you're going to bring your competitors in, and you're going to talk about running a more efficient business and how to make more money with the same product line, and you're going to show them how to use the stain?" And yes, absolutely. Here's the thing. If I lose because I teach everyone else how to be good at what they're doing, that's my fault, right? Like, that's me not innovating. That's me like totally missing signs written on the wall. Like, that's my own fault. I missed something there. But I'd rather lose that way than just, some other nonsense way, right? Like, if nothing else, then I left the local industry better than I found it, right? But I think there's value there, and especially as we're branching more out into regional wholesale, there's value there to teach our competitors, which are also those that we're helping through the supply line. There's value there helping them be better at what they do. It's a win-win.
So, to that point, so coming from, and I tend to do this a lot. I talk about heavy civil because I love dirt.
Yeah.
Talk about that industry and what we all know each other, right? I can name all the big civil contractors that either I've worked for or worked against or whatever it may be. We've all talked, and you look at that industry, right? So on a typical job, you may have $3 or $5 million worth of equipment just sitting there. Excavators, dozers, graders, you name it. So it's an entry level is much higher to get into it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that business is volume based. Like, you got to do millions to pay for that stuff.
Yeah.
Then you come to the defense industry. the fence industry is a very low entry business.
Mhm.
It's not expensive to get a name, incorporation, and a truck with a sticker on the side of it. Okay, and that gets you into business. What I like to do when I have the opportunity around the country and I go to these shows is talk to the people that do this every day and show and sell them and show them how they can make more money. I want to see everyone make more money.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to see that I'm, 20, 30, 15% higher than someone else? No, but I want them to see that I'm getting that.
Yeah.
I've had people come in here for interviews that they say they want a job, and I really find out they're just fishing me.
Yeah.
Because they now start to see we're getting bigger and they're seeing us more around. And when I see that, what I do is I instantly almost change the conversation, still an interview, but I start to talk about how here we sell value and how if they came here, they could make more money and all around and take care of the clients better. And then I know they go off and they'll tell the other owners what they found out and stuff. But
Yeah.
Hey, I'm an open book. May 6th, you come out. We're going to talk about it. I want to see everyone do better. I don't want to.
Absolutely.
I want to see everyone have the opportunity to not just make money, but to be able to provide for their employees, to be able to reinvest in their companies and grow and add products and naturally grow with the people that you're already selling to. There's so many people in this industry. I mean, they're running around in trucks that are 15 years old, 20 years old, not replacing them because they're more focused on just installing and getting it all done rather than stepping back and go, wait a minute. If I just provide some value, provide some products to the same person that I'm already selling the fence to, and I can make another 15, 20% or 30% or whatever it may be.
Yep.
Let's do it in front of the one person because I don't have to spend fuel to go on to the next job.
Well, and like I say, they already know, like, and trust you. You're already doing a job for them. It's an easier conversation to do another job for them. Now, back pre-pandemic, when we had a labor force for this, we also did house washing, roof washing, driveway cleaning, the whole thing, because that's a really easy conversation while we're there to say, hey, we're here to clean your fence, to stain your fence. The same equipment that I have that can do that, well, I can also clean that algae off your roof. I can clean your sidewalk. I can clean your walk up to the door, your driveway, the whole thing. I can clean your house, that mold and algae that's growing outside your house. I make that go away. Would it make sense if I just gave you a number for that too? Yes, of course it does. Right now, not every time was it a yes, but it worked a lot. Right. And you're right. I'm already there. Why would I try to go chase down another customer in a different part of town? I'm there. I would waive the mobilization fee and all that because we're already there. But that's the idea, is finding additional sources of revenue in your silo. In that silo, we were cleaning and staining a fence. And I made the logical leap of the same equipment I have in my truck that will clean that can also clean the rest of this. Yeah, that makes sense. Again, I couldn't talk to them about redoing their roof. They would say, why am I talking to a fence stainer about re-roofing my house? That doesn't make sense. But you can make a logical leap between cleaning a fence and cleaning the house and cleaning the driveway and all that. It's finding those products. That's the key.
I've done that. So I've gone to clients' houses. I used to do back when I first came here, I did a lot of our residential appointments. I don't do any of them now. And I focus more on the commercial side with our other estimators. But kind of where I'm going with this is, I would go with clients and I would, talk about our products or talk about how, our value and the things we can offer them, the tiki torches, the lights, the planter baskets, this stuff. And then, because I talk about it no matter what. I have a spiel I do when I talk to people. And I would get people, no, I just want the fence. I just want a price. Okay, that's no problem. But I just want you to know I'm going to add it. It's going to be a separate line item for you on our proposal. Take a look at it. It might interest you at that point. Here's some brochures. Go check it out. Go look at our social media page and see how we installed it or see what it looks like when it's installed. And, I would say if I had to guess 3 or 4 out of 10 in that instance, when they say no, they then say yes because they get it.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. You're already there. You're already doing the work anyway, but now you got to add on additional revenue to that job.
Yeah.
Guys, I think this is huge. I really do. I think this is a massive opportunity that everyone should focus on. It's less travel because you're doing more work at the same jobs. I mean, here's how I make this make sense. Would I love to do one job a year for $3-4 million? Yes. Yes, absolutely. If we only had one job site we just went to all year long, fantastic. That's not doable. Okay. Well, let's break this down a little bit more. But the idea is, can we go to less jobs and make same or more revenue rather than running all our wheels off our truck, rather than can we do more with what we have? I think that's the goal.
So to your point on that part is, first of all, I work a lot, and I'm just driven that way. I'm in here 6-7 days a week sometimes, and well, most times I should say. My wife would tell you I live here more than I do.
Yep.
But I take care of clients, and if I will jump through hoops and I will make it happen. I'm not a no that doesn't. I've never been a no guy. I've been yes. Let me figure it out. Yeah. We had a very large commercial client that last year, about a year and a half ago. We met with them, met them very, not directly, indirectly. And then we won a job. And it was a very high demanding job. That one little job turned into 6 months on the project. Anytime they needed something, they'd call me. I was there. Yeah. And it didn't come down to price. It was just get here and get it done. We would have a crew come back, and they'd get back here at 6-7 o'clock at night. And then it didn't only happen a couple of times, but there'd be an issue on the job. They'd go, hey, can you send somebody back right now and work for like the next 6 hours? And I'd say, hey, you guys want to go? Let's go. Let's take care of them. And again, I could have not done that.
Sure.
And I could have just went on to the next client, but I want to get the value in as much as I can with that one client, take care of them to the point that now they're handing me other work.
Those are pretty sweet. Those are pretty sweet clients that and you see this more on the commercial side than you do residential, but they just give you come do work. They're like, we're not going to put it out to bid. Here's the thing. Can you get the thing done the way I want it done and within my timeline? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Send me a bill. Here's a PO. We've got a couple clients that are like that, to where sometimes they'll need numbers for the POs or for budgetary figures, but they're not putting it out to bid. They're like, what's this thing cost? I need it. My boss wants this thing done next week. I didn't know it was in the plans. It's in the plans. Can you come do it? Yeah. All right. Those are the dream clients, really. If you only had those clients, like, how sweet would it be?
Yeah. Well, we even have that on a little bit on the residential. And as an example of this is, time is, everyone has gotten used to the online purchase that is here next day, right? Or that afternoon. We've all become more demanding and want it now because of that side of it.
Right.
And so we'll have clients, say, listen, we don't want to pay any more than we have to. We know you're a premium. How fast can you do it? And so then you move things out of the way. And, because where we live, there's properties that are 1 acre, 5 acres, 3, 2. I mean, there's a lot of small stuff, but there's a lot of big stuff where there's still, a lot of farmland that people own. And so, you might go and do a horse fence or something. And, we can get out there in the next week. We'll take care of you. Oh, by the way, let's protect it. You want post saver on it too? All right, we'll figure it out. We'll get it done. We'll come in on the weekends so that we can get out and take care of your job. And then the next time they need something done, they don't call the next guy. They call me. They call us, and we take care of them.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream, is repeat business.
That's it.
That's great. Well, Chris, it's hard to believe, but we're pretty much at our time here. I told you 2.5 hours goes fast when you're just
It
having
does.
a conversation.
And we
And
didn't
even get into any of your other things.
No, and we didn't even get to comments either.
Well, I know. Like, listen, guys, I'm so sorry. I was thinking about that a few minutes ago. I was like, I have like 3 pages of comments that I didn't even get to. Let's run through them really quick.
Hey, go ahead.
All right. Apex says, hoping I don't miss this, but got to go to work today. Makes sense. So she'll see if I get back in time. If I don't get a chance, you'll catch the replay and have a good one. You got it, dude. Hope you made it back. Project Metal Music was with us from over in the UK. These guys are here with us all the time. Appreciate it. Speaking of someone that's here all the time, Roger Bittencourt was here. Hello, Joe and Chris. Hello, Project Metal Music and the rest of the Fence fam. These guys are like go-to weekly guys. Joe Rivers is here a lot. Hey, guys, Straight Arrow Fence in Florida, sunny Florida, watching at the beach today.
I'm a little jealous on that one.
Way to rub that in. Yeah, you just had to put that at the end of it, did you, Joe? Yeah, you could just say, hey, coming from sunny Florida, no, at the beach. Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen a fence on the beach. Have you?
No, I mean, not really. You got some of those silt fences or whatever, but yeah. no, yeah, he's not doing work today. Yeah, absolutely. Roger had a great point. As always, don't forget about hitting some kind of affirmation. So that if you're watching on YouTube, it's a like. If you're watching on Facebook, it could be a like or a heart. Chris, there's a heart on here. Let's see
Heart.
I always like, so if you're on Facebook, it'll show me who does what. So on the likes, Don Bedell, Adam Sims, Don Angel, what is up, buddy? Ron Musgraves. Ron, what is up? Oh man, I'm gonna butcher this name. Ofrano Ortega. I'm so sorry for massacring that name. Dylan Gorley, what is up? So Dylan's one of my best friends. Actually, he and I are gonna go to dinner tonight. So Dylan, good to see you here. Zach Smith and Alex Harris. Now, let's see who gave it a heart. Who was it? Kelly Sloggett. Kelly, thank you. And the Fence Industry Podcast, Dan Wheeler. Thank you, good sir. Appreciate it. Bo's back with us from Walla Walla. Keep on fencing. Thanks, Bo. Ashley Roth was here. Ashley, thank you. Speaking of Dan Wheeler, now Dan used to be the first and only podcast for the fencing industry, but he's since had to change that intro because Dan and Cannon got into it, and he keeps twisting my arm, and it's almost there. We're getting ready to go do it too. Good morning, Dan. So great. Actually, I guess technically now it's afternoon, but it was good morning when you sent this. Chris, this one's for you. Super congratulations on the beautiful baby boy.
Thank you.
Project Metal Music gives you some congrats, as does Al Martin.
Al Martin's watching. Excellent.
Michael Taylor was here. He was listening while he mowed the grass. Michael, I hope your grass is mowed by now. Or if not, thanks for keeping up with us. Alex says, what's up, guys? We just started carrying standstill experts professional wood gear here at Fencing Unlimited. Just finished our first project, and we love it. Can't wait to get it spread across the Birmingham market. This is what I tell Caleb a lot. Is like, all you need to do is get the stain in someone's hands and have them use it once.
That's it.
That's what it takes. Really,
Once you use it once, you'll continue to use it over and over. And we have a lot of repeat buyers all the time.
That's exactly right. Is once we sell it to a contractor once, they'll keep coming back and wanting it. Just because you realize easy to apply, it doesn't make a mess. If it does make a mess, it's easy to clean up. You use it once and you get it.
Yeah.
Oh, Frano's, so he's up from your country. Hi, North Coventry, PA? I don't know that word.
Wait a minute. He used to work for us.
Oh, no way.
I think that's the Alfrano that I'm thinking of, but
surely there's not too many of them. What's that word though? How do you say that word?
What he's trying to type in is North Coventry.
Coventry. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm looking. Let's put my brain in pretzels. I was like,
his fingers are a little bigger than his keyboard.
Hey, happens to everybody. Ron Musgraves is with us. Awesomeness. Love it. What's up, Joe? What's up, Ron? How are you, buddy? So Ron and I are going to see each other at a show in North Carolina. That one's in July.
Oh, nice.
It's Armored Love. Man, I wish. Oh, this was when we were talking about
Muck Tape, maybe?
No. This was when we were talking about the name of the event.
Stano de Mayo.
Stano de Mayo. That's it. I don't know why I drew a blank on that. But yeah, you're saying love it?
So on years and years ago, I was gonna get into the tequila business. I can't make this up. And so I had this was in Michigan, and the guy gave me like 6 cases of tequila, right, to take back and try and all that. And we just could never agree on a distribution agreement. So I said, I'll bring this tequila back to you. He's like, no, keep it. I make a ton of it. They're not even around anymore. Anyways, in my basement, I've carried for the last like 15 years, 12 years, all these cases from house to house to house. Now I give them away. And I'm like, I'm not a huge tequila fan per se.
Sure.
I do like a Don Julio 1942, but
yeah.
But I slowly give tequila away. So you never know what could happen on Friday on Stano de Mayo.
Uh-oh. I see where this story is going. Okay. All right. Al says, Philly steak and margaritas go great after a hard day staining a fence. I don't think he's wrong.
No.
I don't think he's wrong.
And I think Al may be stopping in quietly if they let him into the United States.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed on that one. Braden threw the link to the tickets up.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, Braden is now revising this link. He said he just found out this is not. Oh, this is a bar crawl. What? Braden. All right, that's coming down. That's not the link. That is a link. That is not the link you're looking for.
Hey, that could be Friday night after.
I was going to say, we were just talking about Friday night. I don't know, mate.
We'll get hotels in the city.
Maybe it is the link. It may be. Truth Seeker was here. Greetings from Nashville. Greetings. Glad you guys were here.
It's so far I haven't seen a comment say, "What is Kasurik?"
That's true. Let's talk about that real quick. Let me take that down.
Make it real fast. So, because I'm the Oprah of fence.
Okay.
You know how Oprah did
Harpo?
She's got Harpo Productions or whatever.
Uh-huh.
We were trying to come up with a name that was unique and distinctive, because it's hard to come up with something that makes there's a lot of names out there, so we want to do something different. So I wrote my name backwards. So Caruso is my last name. So I wrote it backwards and I added a C to it, and I went, that's it. My wife at first was like, that is not really good. Like, because everyone says Kosarak.
Yeah.
They say it like it reads. But
sure.
It's Kasurik.
Kasurik.
So kind of like soften it as you say it. And so that's how I came up with the name. So now we have Kasurik Contractors and Kasurik Land Development and all these. I've taken that one name and now created this whole thing for us.
I like that a lot. I really do. And you're guaranteed to get whatever domain names you want that revolve around it, because it's not like, it's not like A1 Best Fence or something like that. You know what I mean? So our company is Ozark Fence. My granddad and his brother-in-law started back in 1955, but there are multiple Ozark fences in the country. We're in the Ozarks region of the United States. So there's 2 in Missouri. There's another one in Arkansas. There's one out in Colorado for some reason. So we compete with that, right? Whereas with Kasurik, it's Blue Ocean. Yeah. I mean, it's you. If you look up Kasurik, you get you.
Well, it's funny you said that, because when it comes to like picking names, so the fence company is Heritage Fence, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I bought the company, I got a phone call about someone had done a bad job with a Heritage Fence in New Jersey. And I'm like, no, I don't have anything in New Jersey. So there's a Heritage Fence in New Jersey, which is it's not existent now. And then about 2 years ago, I guess it was 3 years ago, whatever it was, there's a Heritage Fence. I think it's a Heritage Fence and Repair in Tennessee.
Okay.
This lady called and reamed us out for doing such a bad job. And I'm like, and she said where she lived, and I said, that city does not ring a bell around here.
Uh-huh.
And so we found out that it was this other company in Tennessee that didn't do a great job, and we got pulled into it. So just for that moment, it didn't go beyond that. And then you have a fence manufacturer out West Coast that's called Heritage Fence Products or something.
Yeah.
So with these things that have all happened, we wanted to create something that was distinct that no one had, and that we could because it's trademarked, and we've got it tied in so that it's our name.
Yeah, that's perfect. And like I said, my thing is like trying to buy URLs for websites. Like, so we are creating another business to manufacture fence wire. Like, what do we call this thing? And the first thing you got to do is search the URL, but you got to be fast about it because there are bots out there that watch for people that search a name. And if it's not purchased, they go buy it real quick.
That's right. And then they try to sell it back to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they say, it's available for a fee.
Yeah.
So it was, I searched a name, there's a URL. Searched another name, there's a URL. I searched Ozark Wireworks. It's like, sorry, it didn't pull up anything, and immediately bought it. Like, that's ours now. We get to.
So you know how a woman, and not to stereotype, but women like shoes and purses.
Of course.
I like domain names. It's just happened this way. I've got over 125 domain names.
Do you really?
I swear to Christ, I do.
So we'll have to compare because my GoDaddy account is like, it goes on for a while.
But what happened is any of the names that we have come up with our companies, I will save a bunch of names around it that may get confused or like I'll use Post Saver because we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with it. I've got like 15 wrapped around that name. Right? I've got stuff around the stain, the Muck Tape, almost everything that we have. I've got all these different names wrapped around it to protect us. I've even bought some of our competitors' names. Not to do anything with it. It just sits there.
Just to sit there. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm the same way with URLs. Like if I get an idea for something I want to do, I'll go buy the URL real quick. Like I'm not going to do anything with this right now, but I might want it later on. So it's like there for a little bit, I was thinking about franchising like the house cleaning model. Like it works really well and we've got it figured out. So I've got like, we clean Missouri, we clean Tennessee, we clean this, we clean that. I got like 20 of them or something. Just sitting, just waiting for this idea to percolate up again and we run with it. But
in due time.
That's right. That's right. Cannon is absolutely right. This guy's got some serious passion about this stuff. That's right. This is when we were talking about the ground screws, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stoner for Life would like to know, can't we just build moats with saltwater crocodiles? Very specific. They need to be saltwater crocodiles. Swimming in them, in the moats, could hold water and recycle water. I don't see why not. I think we should probably figure that out. You would be one of the only moat builders in the United States.
Now, you know how that theory. So look at his screen name.
And
what he wrote that.
They are related.
420 was 3 days ago.
Yeah. These two things are related. I think you should do it, and you'd be the only saltwater moat professional in the United States. The saltwater crocodiles might be a problem, but you never know. Austin Florios has learned a lot. Thanks you both. Thank you, Austin.
Awesome. Thanks, Austin.
Sabir Hassan says, I want to work with you. Let's go, Sabir.
Let's do it.
Regardless of which one you're talking to. I'm sure I speak for Chris when I say, come on, let's go.
If anyone wants to work with us or become a dealer or anything like that, they can just go to CasericDistributors.com.
Perfect. Now, Braden assures me that this is the real link. And it does look right. It does free expert stain, seal, and deck stain seminar. That sounds like what we're doing. The first giveaway, Braden, would have been the bar crawl. I think that would have been the dead giveaway. That's not this event. That is an event, not this event.
I should look up and see if that bar crawl is Friday or what. We wouldn't want it to be Thursday night.
It could be the event. NJ Cafe says hi. New here. Quick question. Okay, rapid fire. Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. Okay. Braden did a little bit of moderating because these questions went a different direction. Okay.
Do they typically go a different direction, Joe?
What's that?
Do they typically go a different direction?
No, they don't typically go this direction. So, but this is the reason we've got a moderator here ready to go. As soon as I did that first one, I heard him. He's on the other side of the camera. He went, because I deleted that. Like, and I scanned down. I was like, oh, good catch on that one. Okay. Anyway, Chris, I cannot wait to see you here in a couple weeks. Actually, it's like today's what, Saturday.
Not even.
Yeah, not even. I'm ready. I can't wait to get up there and see you and see the crew. And like I say, Thursday night, I am going to have all the questions for you because my retail wholesale gal here, Candace, will probably watch this and she will have all the questions for you as well on the distribution side. So good. I will come armed with questions.
I've learned a lot in the last 3 years, so I'm glad to share it and so that we all learn from each other. And keep in mind about the state event. You can go to eventbrite.com and search it, Kasurek Distributors for it. There'll be a link on our website this week that'll pop up for anyone that wants to get right to our website, KasurekDistributors.com. That's COSURAC distributors.com. It'll be there. All of our social media has it. So we have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel. So you can check out all that. We try to put stuff up there. Dave does a great job trying to get things up there daily. So we schedule everything so it's always staying in front of our clients. And May 6th, 9 a.m. in the Skip Pack, Pennsylvania area. We will make the announcement of the actual address like that week, probably that Monday or Tuesday, because we're still firming everything up as we speak.
Of course. It's still fluid. Absolutely. Well, Chris, listen, I really appreciate you making the time right in the middle of this major life event you're in the middle of. Tell your wife thank you for us.
I will.
I don't know what you're going to be walking into, but tell her, say, babe, listen. He apologizes and he says thank you.
It could be a hornet's nest. I mean, we'll find out.
Yep. It's still, let's see, my youngest is a year and a half, so it's a little bit out. I'm a little bit. It's not fresh in my memory, but I have to think, you might be walking into a bit of a hornet's nest there.
Nothing that flowers and wine can't fix.
Bingo. That's the secret to success.
It is. And then always just say yes.
Yeah.
Whatever she agrees.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and you're right.
So sorry. Sorry. Yep. Absolutely. Chris, thank you. I really do appreciate the time. I can't wait to see you here in just a little bit. Like I said, guys, May 6th, check out Kasurek on any of the social platforms. We actually have them linked in, depending on where you're watching, either the description below on YouTube or the first comment in Facebook or LinkedIn. So check them out.
Have a great weekend.
Guys, until next time, I'm Joe Everest, a fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. And I'll see you next week.